Welcome, Lund loyalists, YouTubers watching on John Lund Unleashed and the Bay Area Sports Collective. Those watching on X and Instagram and listening on Apple and Spotify. It's John Lund Unleashed and JohnLundUnleashed.com. Brought to you by Riopel Cosmetic Surgery and Laser Center. Right now featuring amazing stem cell technology. For all your pain and for the guys, check out the latest in low T and testosterone therapy to make you feel like yourself again. Riopel Cosmetic Surgery and Laser Center at riopelcosmetic.com. Now, all juiced up and ready to go. Here's Johnny.
I am juiced up and ready to go because it's free agency frenzy. It's a frenzy. It's crazy. It's crazy. There we go. We got the, let me see if I can get this even a little bit better. There we go. Less me, more of the screen is very, very nice. Thank you so much for joining us. It is free agency frenzy. I have a ton of news for you. Been talking to people, chatting people up, texting people. I'm giving you the insight today, as you can see right there. And I've got a lot of news, even though they can't actually do the heaviest of petting until 9 o'clock, noon Eastern time. We have a lot of things, and then it's going to be a couple of days they can put pen to paper so that you're going to hear this term have come to terms, because it's going to take a couple of days. But you see right there, I got a ton to get to. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And there is the cover of the show today, Free Agency Frenzy, on this Monday edition of the show. And we will do the roll call in just a second. I have a pretty small chalkboard today just because it's going to be so busy. There's not a ton of stuff other than free agency, but there's a ton in that. So episode 83, good morning, and thank you for joining us on John Lund Unleashed on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe there. Please, please, please. We're almost up to 4,000 subscribers, so thank you very much for making the time and building our great little community that we've got here. It's very, very cool, so we're doing that. So John Lund Unleashed on YouTube. Welcome to the people watching on Bay Area Sports Collective, which we've put a few shows together there. That is my show and Tommy Tolbert, and which I'm going to be on Tom's show Wednesday, and then Polly Mack and Creative Tony, Polly's Particles. So all three shows are on Bay Area Sports Collective, so make sure you subscribe there. Let's grow that number as well. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching on X, at John Lund Radio. Thank you for watching on Instagram. Good morning to you, at John Lund Radio. I'm also on Facebook, Twitch, all those places, so you can catch me anywhere. And for all things Unleashed, as you well know by now, just go to johnlundunleashed.com. The show is running right there, right now on that. Also, archives of YouTube shows, archives of the podcast, which Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your favorite podcasts, we've got that going as well there. Plus, I write a blog, so make sure that you check everything out, plus all your social media places. If you can't remember where I am, just go to johnlundunleashed.com. It's very, very simple. Real quick before we get to everything, and there is a ton, thanks to my good friends, Dr. Riopel, Dr. Jeffrey Riopel at the Riopel Cosmetic Surgery and Laser Center. Make sure you check them out, because not only do they do all the great stuff that you would expect from a cosmetic surgery and laser center, but the thing they've got going on right now, a couple of different things that my wife and I are doing, testosterone therapy, which I'm not kidding you. You get to a certain age and it's harder to lose weight. It's harder to be motivated. It's harder to do all the things that you want to do and have the energy to do it. And you hear all these different places that do it. We're talking about a doctor here, a legit doctor. So he's going to take your blood, and you're going to look at everything, and they're going to give you the right doses. It's not going to do some willy-nilly thing. You're not going to have to go in there and take shots every week like I've had to do in the past. You're going to do one quick procedure. It's very, very simple, and it's going to last you for a number of months, and you don't even have to worry about it. And all of a sudden, it's going to kick in, and you're going to go, whoa, this is nice. So check that out right now. Testosterone therapy, if you're looking for something like that, I'm telling you, it makes a world of difference in your life. And if you click right there on the QR code, it's going to take you right to the Riopel website, and you'll be able to make an appointment straight from there. So I can tell you from personal experience that the testosterone treatment is absolutely great. It just takes a few minutes, and you're going to feel great for months at a time, and you don't have to go in and take a shot every single day. So check them out for the testosterone therapy. And then my wife, in fact, I was just talking about this. A friend of mine's birthday was yesterday, and we were talking about stem cell therapy, because you're talking about, my wife has a shoulder issue, elbow issue. She's constantly icing. I tell you this all the time. Our freezer out in the garage has got all sorts of contraptions so that she can feel better. And now we're going on about a month that she's done this. And honestly, she's never felt better. She doesn't have to use so much stuff. It's just absolutely made an amazing difference in her life. And I was actually telling these people to barbecue that yesterday. And they're like, you sound like an advertisement. I'm like, I'm telling you, this stuff works. So the stem cell is absolutely amazing. So if you've never tried something like that and you got pain anywhere in your body, talk to Dr. Riopel about it and you're going to feel better. So check that out as well. Click on that QR code right now. Make that appointment. Tell them I sent you over. They are great friends of mine, and they will take care of you, plus doing the normal stuff that you would expect from a cosmetic surgery and laser center. They are the best. Dr. Jeff Riopel and the entire crew at Riopel Cosmetic Surgery and Laser Center. Check out my friends there. All right, it is episode 83, NFL Free Agency Frenzy. What's done? Let me give you something real quick, because normally we just go over this, and then we go to the roll call. But let me just do this on a Monday. This is what has been done. And we'll update this throughout the show, but you look at that fancy chart I got there. The movement chart 2025. So Josh Allen, extension. Myles Garrett. What did I tell you? What do I always tell you? I want to trade unless you give me $40 million a year. And it's 100% about money all the time, all the time, all the time. There's DK Metcalf going from, he said, I want warm weather and a winter. He went cold weather and just like he was in Seattle. Good job, Seahawks. 5 years, 150 though. Money talks, all about the money. Devontae Adams goes back to the West Coast. A lot of people thought Niners. He was always going to be too expensive. I told you. But he goes to the worst place. The Rams for 2-46. Sherwood, the linebacker for the Jets. That's who I liked. But I knew he was going to be outpriced. And I'm going to go back to this because it matters about Dre Greenlaw. 3-45. Geno Smith to the Raiders for a third-round pick. Ernest Jones, bad news. I'm telling you. I'll get into it in a second. Resigns in Seattle. 3-33. Harold Landry goes to the Patriots. Jaron Reed resigns in Seattle. Aaron Jones resigns in Minnesota. Nick Bolton resigns in Kansas City. Another linebacker off the board. DJ Jones, unfortunately, resigns in Denver. Got way too much money. Niners would have never paid it. This morning, Khalil Mack resigns 1 year, $18 million. That's a bummer with the Chargers. J.C. Horn gets a 4-year, $100 million extension with Carolina. That's where we are. I will update the movement chart, and you tell me what's going on, too, because I'm trying to run a show here and stay relatively connected to what's going on. So let me make sure that I'm not missing any rumors because I'm on the NFL rumor page as we speak. And now now this is not resetting. Okay, there we go. Oh, look at that. Christian McCaffrey and his wife are expecting a baby. That's great news. So there you go. We just broke some news. Christian McCaffrey and his wife, Olivia Cupo, the supermodel, they are expecting a baby. Isn't that nice? So we've got that. Okay, a guard signed in Tampa, re-signed. That's boring news. I'm not going to give you every small little tiny detail. We're going with the big stuff here. Quarterbacks, where's Sam Darnold going? Where's Aaron Rodgers going? What's going on with the Niners? Those are the things that we're going to concentrate on. So if anything happens, you tell me too, and I'll double check. Not that I don't believe you, but I will keep you up to date with the fancy chart that I just showed you. The official. Oops, that's who's going to be doing stupid stuff today. The official 2025 NFL John Lund Unleashed movement chart. Are you impressed with that? Probably not. These are the teams that are going to be doing stupid things. You see at the top: Patriots, Chargers, Cardinals, Commandos, Seahawks after all their trades and releases, Steelers, Vikings. Those are the teams that are going to do dumb stuff on day number one. Probably not the Niners. Not a big move, at least. So there's that. The latest on 49ers rumors. I just told you about linebackers. In a minute, we'll start with where Dre Greenlaw's situation is. Bosa times 2, the latest. The Seahawks gone crazy. I posted this over the weekend because I told you I had this cassette tape of Steve Young. This is from June 5th of 1998. I've had this tape. I don't know if you can see this, but it's I have it upside down. You probably can't. It says 6'5". Let me see if I can get 6'5" NBA Finals. And I've had this in a box along with a bunch of other old radio stuff for almost 30 years. And I finally pulled it out, and it's got me and Steve Young. I'm probably 25 when I do this interview. And Steve is still the quarterback of the 49ers. And it's hilarious because he's trying to get away from me on the court. And this is Jordan's Final Dance Bulls. And this is game 2 in Utah with a 1-zip lead. And Steve is an icon, obviously, in Utah, being a BYU quarterback. And they're like chasing live mic. As I've told you, I was a live mic sideline reporter for the Utah Jazz Radio Network. It was my first job. And they're just like, chase him down. And that day, I had already gotten turned down by Jack Nicholson and Woody Harrelson and all these stars who were at the NBA Finals. But I'm like, I don't care. I'm young. I got to make a name. And Steve's trying to ditch me. It's a pretty funny interview. But then it ended up being good. But I'm doing radio voice guy. Hey, Steve. It's kind of funny. So we'll play that. Probably not today, but I just wanted to tell you that it's up at johnlundunleashed.com on the YouTube site. And it's kind of funny to listen to back in the day, 30 years ago. But you care about everything that's going on as far as this stuff is concerned, the NFL free agency. So again, we're going to do a ton of that. Seahawks gone crazy. Steve Young, Kuminga still out. Giants weekend, caboose, and random, which happens throughout the show. Good morning to everyone. Thank you for coming in. Let's do a little roll call here. As again, if you want to, I see some supers already. So if you want some supers up, you got questions about somebody, believe me, I've been delving in deeply to this kind of stuff. Tacky beat Jeff this morning. Way to go, because it's usually Jeff. I don't even see Jeff this morning. What's going on there? Hurley Bird is here. Sports Girl for life. Very good to see you. Christopher, one of the Lund loyalists, is here. We got to do another chat. Plus, by the way, Christopher, I owe you a piece of gear like I have on my head right now. I do have your email, so don't. Hey, by the way, Skills, you were the man, because I saw you last night, or I saw you in the Kruger chat when we were doing free agency talk last night on the Krug show, and you did say that you were going to get out of here early. So thank you. It's about 8:15, so maybe I missed you already, but thank you for jumping in here. We appreciate it. Skills is the man. Vernon is here. Baba Booey. John Holmes is the man. He is here. Oh, look at this. I got to do this fast because if Skills is still sitting around. $6.11. Thank you, Skills. On Saturday, if you're new around here, he has these crazy dreams, and we have to talk about them for a minute. On Saturday, I dreamed I work at Target. Boss wanted us to kick a field goal in the bathroom. We wheeled in some device, kicked the field goal, then argued over the film. That's worth the price of admission right now, is when Skills dreams. It's so wild. And the thing is, I can never remember my dreams, ever. Like, I'll have a weird one, and then I'm like, what happened? It's always been something good is going to happen is when I wake up. But Skills, thank you very much, my friend. Yeah, Enrique, I had DJ Jones on that whole thing. Re-signed with the Broncos. That's bad. But, I think his number was like $12 million. I got news for you, man. The Niners aren't going to be day oneers. They're not spending $12 million on a defensive tackle. I'm going to explain their philosophy here in a second because there's some confusion. Yeah, as I said, Khalil Mack, 1 year, $18 million back with the Chargers. Let's go. It's NFL free agency frenzy. Of course, we're going to let's go. Good to see you, Francis Berry. Larry last night was obsessed. Yeah, I agree with you. I love Krug, but Justin Fields is the anti-Kyle Shanahan quarterback. If they're going to sign a backup from, a bomb of a backup, I know this is a weird name, but like a Mac Jones is going to be the guy. It could be a Zach Wilson. I'm not a Wilson guy. I'm not a Jones guy, but I'm just telling you that if he's going to rehab a guy from that group, and I have a feeling he might because it'd be cheap, they were all over Mac Jones, and he's a drop back guy. Justin Fields is the opposite of what Brock Purdy is. So let's say Purdy gets hurt. Then Justin Fields is completely opposite, and you change your offense, and he's a one read and run guy. And Kyle Shanahan is obsessed with, you run my offense the way I want it run. And it just doesn't make sense. So anyway, I'm just telling you, it's not steroids. It is not steroids. Let's see. Hopefully, Skills, you were here for us. Oh, very nice to see you. Hi, Gabrielle. Good to see you. Caught up this morning leading into the show now. Very nice. Yeah, we'll go into a lot of that stuff, and I'll tell you as things happen. And I got to keep. I don't mean to ignore you, but I have this tracker up, and I just got to make sure that all these people are like, need John Lynch to cook today. I'm telling you, they're not going to be a day oneer. I don't want to get you mad and everything, but they're not going to be a day oneer, at least not a major day oneer. I'll get into Dre Greenlaw in just a second, the teams that are after him, but I'm just making sure every once in a while that I reset it. No, I changed my clock. Yeah, nowadays, that's the one. I'm glad you brought that up. Like, my wife brought it up yesterday. It's like, if somebody doesn't bring it up to me, daylight savings, I guess we sprang forward, lost an hour. I don't even think about it because your phone and everything resets itself. It's not like you have analog clocks in your house. They have to reset. At least we don't. So I'm just saying, like, I don't know. I'm fine. And I don't even think about it unless somebody said, oh, good morning, Scott. Like and subscribe. Now you're talking. Danny is a Lund loyalist. Let's see. All the previous shows started at 9 for me. Yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah, you're in Arizona and they don't change. That's right. I forgot about that. So now you got to get up earlier. Oh, you're just like, oh, I don't know if I can do that. I got to make sure that I'm really good so that you no, it's not. Moon River. None of that. There's no Moon River. Good morning, Todd. By the way, Todd was saying, hey, man, get to the supers. When I'm on Krug show, Krug controls all that stuff. So I don't control that stuff when I'm on the Krug show. He controls all that stuff. So I don't have any control. And he did it at the end of it. So I thought that was, pretty cool how he did it. 5950 is tremendous to you. Joy. Hello. Joy, I know, checked out the interview with Steve Young, which was very, very cool that I did 27 years ago, courtside, chasing him around. So anyway, good morning to everybody. You can comment as needed. Also, I will hit up the supers. And if there's anything, please help me because I am furiously trying to stay up on everything. But again, let me just throw this up there one more time. As of before 9 o'clock, when everything can happen, this is the movement chart, the fancy movement chart. So Josh Allen extension, Myles Garrett extension. What I tell you, I'm not playing unless you give me 40 a year. DK Metcalf, I want a warm weather team that wins unless the Steelers give me 5 and 150. Devontae Adams, Rams. Sherwood back to the Jets. Geno to Vegas. Ernest Jones resigns. Harold Landry, Patriots. Jaron Reed resigns. Aaron Jones resigns. Nick Bolton resigns. DJ Jones resigns with Denver. Khalil Mack resigns with the Chargers 1-18. J.C. Horn extension with Carolina. That's what's gone on so far. Now, let me start with some Niners stuff because that's what you care about. Dre Greenlaw. Apparently 3 teams after him. And it makes a lot of sense that the Texans would be one of those teams. The Rams, unfortunately, are one of those teams because they see him so much. Atlanta needs a lot of defense. Denver's been named. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, and nothing has happened yet, but it looks really, really the chance is slim to none that Dre Greenlaw is going to return. And let me explain 2 things about it. First of all, the linebackers flew off the board yesterday, which is basic supply and demand, right? Ernest Jones back to the Seahawks. Nick Bolton back to the Chiefs, and Jamie Sherwood, who was a guy I really, really liked, back to the Jets. And they made between $13 and $15 million a season. That's not going to do it. So what we're hearing is that they wanted to keep Dre in like the 3 to 24 range, which is $8 million a season. And we know how free agency works. So when the confusion is from Mike Silver's piece last week, which we discussed, and we discussed it a lot on Saturday and some, I think, on Friday, but a lot on Saturday's show. But when he says that they're going to take more of a hardline stance, people thought that meant Brock Purdy. It doesn't mean Brock Purdy. It's not that they're not taking a hardline stance. It's just that they're not drawing the line, I guess is a better way to put it, at Brock Purdy. They're signing Brock Purdy. All right. That's not the hardline stance. The hardline stance is guys like Dre Greenlaw, who they love. But in the past, they would have said, okay, if the market, like Nick Bolton, if the market is 3 and 45 with, 30 of this guaranteed, that's just what we have to do. Now it's, hey, we'll sign the Purdys of the world, but the Dre Greenlaws, and we wanted 8 and now it's 15. We're not doing that. And that's where the difference comes in, is everybody is like, oh, clearly that means, let me move my computer out of the way here so you have to look at it. Clearly that means that Brock Purdy's not getting the deal. No, that's not what it means. It means that they're not overpaying for the Dre Greenlaws of the world. And as much as I like Dre Greenlaw, he's coming off the worst injury in sports right now, the Achilles, and maybe he's going to be great, and maybe it's not going to mean anything, and maybe he's going to be 100% fine. But that's where Jed is starting to draw the line in situations like that, where we think he's worth 8, the league thinks he's worth 12 to 15, and we're not going to do that. We're not going over that line. So that's where, to me, if you combine those things, plus D'Amico Ryans is in Houston, as I tell you, it's all about connections. D'Amico Ryans is in Houston. That makes sense. Atlanta is desperate for defense. They'll overpay for him. We went back, a few weeks ago and said if it's above a 1-year deal, it's not going to happen, but it's easily above that. And it's just because linebackers flew off the market yesterday in Jones, Bolton, and Sherwood. And now all of a sudden you look at where the linebackers are. In fact, let me look at that. Let me just throw you this real quick, because I still have these things up here. Where are the linebackers? I know I have it somewhere. Here we go. So here are the linebackers right there. Bond off the market. Jones off the market. Bolton off the market. Sherwood off the market. Wagner off the market. I don't know what they would do with Kendricks at 33. And he said he verbally agreed with the Niners and went to the Cowboys. So maybe he's a guy because they talked to him before. But I would think maybe they go young in the draft. You're not going to overpay at linebacker. I love Dre Greenlaw, but you're not overpaying at that position because it's not a premium position. Defensive tackle is not a premium position. They're not going to overpay there. We're going to get into the Bosa situation, but edge, corner, I think they need a veteran safety on this team. I think that they can get a guard in free agency to replace Aaron Banks, who somehow is going to make $20 million, which is ridiculous. The overpay there. I thought maybe, Drew Dahlman was going to be a guy. He's going to get overpaid. So anyway, let's stick on it, though. This is what the linebacker group looks like now. And Dre Greenlaw easily is the number 1 linebacker out there. He's got leverage with all these other guys signing. So he's going to make a bunch of money, and it's going to be out of the range of the 49ers. I would be completely shocked if Dre Greenlaw was back with the 49ers. In fact, I'd call it like a 95% chance that he's gone. Might even be higher than that. It just yesterday was not a good day for the 49ers in terms of DJ Jones going back to Denver, the linebackers signing. It just wasn't a great start. I'm not saying that they can't be great, and I'm not down on what they may or may not do. I'm just simply telling you that with the amount of money that's around in the league, because the cap went up for everybody, not just the Niners, as you can see, all this dumb money. The Patriots, the Chargers spent $18 million on Mac, but they've still got money. Cardinals, Commanders, Seahawks opened up a ton of money. Steelers, some of that money went to DK Metcalf. That was before that. Vikings, Jags. You see the Titans. It's usually those kind of teams. Jerry Jones says he's not going to spend heavy with the Cowboys. Well, he's got to get some things done, especially with Micah Parsons. So you see some of those teams there that have some money. The Raiders are kind of in the middle there. They just took on Geno Smith. So, but at the top of that whole thing, the Patriots and Chargers, Cardinals, Commanders, those teams, Seattle, they can throw around stupid money. And Seattle's not generally that way with John Schneider. So, but I would expect a number of those teams to be day oneers, throw around a bunch of stupid money. And I think that a team that has connections with Dre Greenlaw are going to overpay. And that's what I guess a lot of people are misconstruing what the piece said, which is we're just going to be smarter with our money. Being smarter with our money is not meaning we're going to get cheap with our 25-year-old franchise quarterback. Being smarter with your money means there's a guy coming off an Achilles who's 28 years old, and we think that his value is $8 million a season. The league thinks his value is at $15 million a season. We're not doing that. So that's where the difference comes in. Okay, Bosa times 2 on the chalkboard. So on Saturday, rumors were flying, and I gave you this last week, so I'm not going to sit here and bemoan it too much, but just as a general rule, because I'm going to take Bosa, I'm going to comp it to some things and some rumors that are going around the 49ers. So first and foremost, those are your top 10 edge guys in the league, according to Pro Football Focus, overall. So that first number is overall, that blue. The second number is run defense. Third number is pass rush. Fourth number is pass coverage, which I don't care about. I don't want my edge rushers going backwards. I want them going forwards. So Hutchinson, Myles Garrett resigns. TJ Watt's going to resign. Nick Bosa's there. Khalil Mack just re-signed. Parsons going to re-sign versus rookie. Highsmith under contract. Will Smith young. Hendrickson looking for a trade. No way can the 49ers afford him. He's 30 years old, and he's looking at, now that Myles Garrett just got 40 and Max Crosby just got 35 and a half, there's no way a guy like Trey Hendrickson is under, under 30 and probably closer to 35. No way can the Niners afford him. But I didn't put that up there for that reason. I put it up for this reason, which is Joey Bosa is all the way back at 72. All right. And 60s are not good scores. So a 61.1 is close to horrendous, to be honest with you. And Joey Bosa played in less than half the snaps for the Chargers, even though he played in 14 of 17 games. Joey Bosa played in less than half of the snaps, 49.6% for the Chargers last year. And in the previous 2 years, the reason why he played in less than half the snaps is because he played in 14 games total, 9 and 5, or 5 and 9, I should say. And then he played in 14 last year. Well, what the Chargers tried to do is they paid him $25 million, so he was a rotational player, is what I'm getting at. So at the age of 30 in July, so he'll play his age 30 season next year, and everybody's excited for Joey Bosa, but he's Joey Bosa in name only. He's not Nick Bosa, and he's not young Joey Bosa. He's been injured, and he's played half the game. So Joey Bosa would be great in concept, and Joey Bosa would be a really fun story. Woohoo, the Bosa brothers, ooh, and Greg would have all sorts of fun with, whatever he would want to call them and whatever kind of nicknames he'd want to call them. But the reality is that Joey Bosa is not Joey Bosa. He's Joey Bosa in name only. And so you'd have to he's a rotational player. He played half the snaps. And just to kind of give you a kind of a backdrop on that is, they rotate the defensive line. But when Nick Bosa is healthy, he still plays 90% of the snaps with the 49ers in his career. So if he misses a game, But if he's available to play, he's out there about 90% of the time. Joey Bosa's out there half the time. So unless Joey Bosa, and I'm getting to the point where I don't even like this idea. Let's say that Joey Bosa plays for a base of $10 million and they give him a bunch of incentives based on sacks and all these, PFF numbers and how far they get in the playoffs and everything else. Maybe, but Miami now is involved, and if they're getting into some sort of a bidding war, there's no chance. The Bosa family lives in Miami. There's no state income tax in Florida. I would think at the age of 30 and Joey saying, man, I'm hurt a lot, the concept of playing with my brother would be absolutely great. But what if Miami's offering more and a 13% raise on anything, because the state tax in California is 13.3%. So you save 13% on any contract or get a 13% raise in Florida for any contract that he gets. And the Niners aren't getting into a bidding war just because it's a neat story that the Bosas can play opposite each other. And that's not the best. He's not the best person for the job anyway. I would have loved Khalil Mack, but the Niners were not going to go $18 million for a year with Khalil Mack, as you saw on that chart before. He's one of the top edge rushers in the league. Even though he's 34 years old, you can see right there, he's the 5th rated edge rusher right behind Nick Bosa. That would have been amazing. But he goes 1 year and $18 million with the Chargers. I don't love the Bosa concept, the two Bosa concept, only because Joey hasn't been good. And the best availability is availability, and Joey Bosa doesn't have that. So I don't love that deal. And along those same lines, and sorry, I just need to keep checking here. Along those same lines, a lot of people are excited. Let me see, there's a picture of Sam Darnold. What's that? I don't care. A lot of people are excited of the concept of Jonathan Allen. I looked up him today. Jonathan Allen was the 70th ranked defensive tackle in all of the NFL, according to Pro Football Focus. Here's a name for you. And I don't know if he'd come because I think he's probably going to the Raiders with Pete Carroll. But Poona Ford of the Chargers, and I know you don't love the name, but he's 29 years old, used to play for the Seahawks, was the 5th rated defensive tackle in the NFL last year. He's not going to get paid a ton of money. That's the kind of guy they need. And if you've been paying attention, Malik Collins released. So you look inside, Jordan Elliott, I think he's going to get released. They don't have anybody inside. Now, it's not an elite position, and I would not expect the 49ers to go balls out for defensive tackles. I think if it's an edge that they think can really help Nick, then I think they would do something like that. And like I said, Joey Bosa is a rotational player at this point in his career. So they might bring in Joey. I'm not saying they won't. I'm just saying it's got to be on their terms, on their money. And if the Dolphins are involved, I think that's where he's going to go, because that's where his family is, and that's where the taxes are much better. And he'll probably get paid higher in Miami, who would get fooled by the name Joey Bosa than what the 49ers would. And this is what I'm telling you about Jed York, is the underlying offseason talk goes is he's not going to be cheap. That's a wrong assessment. He's not going to be cheap. He's not going to be cheap on Brock. But Dre Greenlaw, double his number in the market, that's not happening. Joey Bosa, based on name, if it's not the Niners' terms, not happening. Those are the kind of things, the frivolous things that Jed York is going to stop doing, I think. So there's that. And then as far as defensive tackle, I'd much rather have Poona Ford at the age of 29 and as effective as he was with Harbaugh last year versus a guy like Jonathan Allen, who, just like Joey Bosa, what a great name, right? And this is what I tell you about free agency all the time. Why is a team letting a guy go? Like Washington, the Commanders. He's 29 years old. He's 30 years old, Jonathan Allen. He's been a great player for them for a lot of years. He makes $16 million, which isn't crazy at defensive tackle. I mean, it's on the higher end, no doubt. But why doesn't Washington want him? Well, because he had a major pec injury. He didn't play all that well when he did play. He's the 70th ranked defensive tackle, according to Pro Football Focus. He's not that good anymore, and they're going to let him go. And then everybody goes, oh, my God, Jonathan Allen's available? Yeah, Jonathan Allen in name is available. The player that he was, that's not him. Joey Bosa, that's not him. So the thank you contracts that the Niners have given out in the past because of guys' names, that's what Jed is talking about. That's what they're talking about with Jed. Maybe they'll sign Jonathan Allen. But to me, Jonathan Allen is a 30-year-old guy that's broken down. He'll play a year for the 49ers. He'll be disappointing just like Malik Collins was, and then they'll let him go. So I don't love these guys that are being thrown around because their names are great. Joey Bosa is not great. Jonathan Allen is not great. Now, does Bosa have some upside if he can stay healthy? Yeah, I think so. But not on the terms of what Miami is probably going to offer. So I could be 100% wrong on that, but that's kind of what I think. So that's what's going on as far as Bosa times 2. 49ers rumors, Dre Greenlaw is the latest, and I just don't think he's going to be back. What's been done, I'll keep updating that. By the way, Grady Jarrett's been released by Atlanta, and I'm already getting hits up on that. I'm not a big fan. Christian McCaffrey, by the way, and his wife are expecting a baby, just so that you know. I know that's not free agency, but I'm just letting you know. That's news. What else do we have? Oh, J.C. Horn became the highest paid defensive back, but I already had that on my list. Okay, nothing yet as far as free agency is concerned. Yeah, Grady Jarrett is the latest. My dog is scratching on the door. It's like, dude, get out of here. It's free agency. We're not talking about that. Seahawks gone crazy over the weekend. The only reason I bring that up is because it's the NFC West. So if you don't know, and you probably do, Geno Smith's been traded to the Raiders for a 3rd-round pick. DK Metcalf has been traded to the Steelers for a 2nd-round pick. And for some reason, people are equating that to the Seahawks are rebuilding. This is a team that was 10-7 last year. I don't see it that way. if you're going, I've told you this before, if you're going to do something major, then what happens is you're already going to have a plan. John Snyder's a good general manager. He didn't trade Geno Smith, and Geno Smith went, I want $45 million, and the Seahawks said, no chance. And so they did a really ballsy thing in which, if people think, and I'm going to equate this to Brock Purdy in just a second, but let me just stay on the Seahawks for just 1 minute. John Snyder's a good general manager. They're not rebuilding in Seattle. What they're doing is, I'd be shocked if they didn't sign Sam Darnold. And yep, it's called tampering. It's heavy petting. They do it all the time. They allow it now at 9 a.m. in about 21 minutes. But I think Seattle talked to Sam Darnold at 9:01. It's going to come out that he's going to Seattle. They traded Geno Smith. They're going to pay less for Sam Darnold. Darnold's 27. Geno's 34. I think they would have made a really, really good move there. And then as far as DK Metcalf, he wanted $30 million. He got $5 and $150 from the desperate Steelers. Seattle wasn't going to pay that. They let Lockett go. So they'll be in the free agent market and the draft as far as wide receivers. And now Seattle has a first, number 18. They have 2 2s and 2 3s. And so they're not rebuilding at all. They're just saying, okay, Geno Smith's not worth 45. So what does that have to do with the 49ers? First of all, Seattle's, I think, still going to be a pretty good football team. And what they're doing is what a lot of football teams are doing, which is everybody did this, give a bunch of money to wide receivers last year. Now everybody regrets it. They're repurposing their money to the important parts. Seattle had the worst offensive line in the league, especially on the interior. They are going to resource that money, and they're going to fix their offensive and defensive lines is what they're going to do. So that's redistribution of dollars, and I think that's what the 49ers want to do as well. And so anybody who thinks Ayuk's going to be traded, and he still might be, I doubt it, but anybody who thinks Ayuk's going to be traded, they would redistribute that money to the inside. But again, you start looking at Ayuk, and I've told you this a million times, his stock is as low as it's ever going to be. He's injured, so that's why it's going to be so low. You could probably get what? If DK Metcalf just got a 2, Ayuk injured is not better than DK Metcalf, so what are you going to get, a 3 for Brandon Ayuk? Maybe by incentives you could get a 2, but probably originally it's going to be a 3 or a 4 even. You're not trading him for that. That's stupid. Then you don't have any receivers. You're going to take another hit on the salary cap. It just doesn't make sense. If they were going to trade him, they would have probably already traded him. I guess they could trade him by around the draft. If somebody doesn't like, the receivers that are on the board, maybe they would do that. But he's not going to go for a 1. He's not even probably going to go for a 2 if DK just went for a 2, and there's receivers out there all over the place. So that's kind of my thought. And then as far as Geno Smith is concerned, if you thought Brock Purdy wasn't going to get re-signed, the Seahawks did something that you don't normally do, but it's a weird offseason, which is we've got a good quarterback, and we'd like to get a great quarterback, but there's nobody out there, and so we're just going to stay with our good quarterback, and we're going to overpay that good quarterback but not great quarterback. Geno Smith had a great first year in Seattle. And his second 2 years, and especially last year, just a lot of turnover and stupid plays, especially in the red zone. And Seattle got frustrated by it and didn't want to pay him $45 million. The Raiders are in a totally different place. They're trying to change their culture with Pete Carroll. They bring in his quarterback that he had in Seattle. I understand why Seattle did it. I understand why the Raiders did it. Works out for everybody. But Seattle's going to go get Sam Darnold at the age of 27. They're going to probably pay him 30 to 35 million, maybe 40. But they'll think it's worth it because he's 27. Now, what that has to do with Brock is if the 49ers didn't want to re-sign Brock Purdy, they could have easily back-channeled and said, hey, Sam, want to come here? And then they probably could have gotten a first-round pick for Brock Purdy. Like the Jets at number 7, what are they going to do at quarterback? Tyrod Taylor? They're probably not in the range to get one of the quarterbacks unless they want to reach for a guy like Jackson Dart, which I don't think they will. So Ward and Sanders are going to be gone. What are they going to do at 7? They would probably take Brock Purdy for a number 1 pick, and then the 49ers would have back-channeled to Sam Darnold, and there they go. They got a first-round pick in the Jets at 7. Sam Darnold's their quarterback, but it doesn't sound like they're doing anything like that. Seattle decided that. Nope, this guy's not worth it. We're going to go get Sam Darnold. Maybe Aaron Rodgers if that falls through, but one of those 2 guys is going to be Seattle's quarterback. Personally, I hope it's Aaron Rodgers because Aaron Rodgers, I think, is done. But anyway, so it's going to be one of those 2 guys. They have a plan at quarterback. They decided to move in a different direction. And they had the balls to do it. I don't think the 49ers do want to do that. And that's why, again, it goes back to this whole Jed thing. Oh, they're drawing the line at Brock Purdy. No, they're not. They're drawing the line at overpaying guys like what they think is in Dre Greenlaw and stuff like that. You probably want to know names. I just threw a couple of names down here that I would watch out for. Poona Ford, like I said, is one, although I think he's going to the Raiders. James Daniels, a guard. Tevin Jenkins, a guard. I know you don't probably love Brandon Cooks, but that's a name to watch. Cam Bynum, I love the kid out of Cal who had the interceptions in the Vikings-Niners games a couple of years ago. They need a veteran type safety. Javon Holland's a Bay Area guy. I think he's too expensive. He's only 25, and I'd love to have him back there. But, the secondary is so young. So that's a name that I wrote down. And then, you got to start looking at inside. Like I said, Jonathan Allen, I don't love. I don't think they're going to bring back Kinlaw. Some people have asked me about that. I don't think that's going to happen. And then at linebacker, there's just not a lot of guys out there. So we'll see what happens as far as if Dre leaves. It's just not a great list. So give me some thoughts on what you think. Who would you like? Who do you not? Give me some questions. Give me some thoughts. What do you think about free agency today? Because that's essentially what's going on. Seahawks gone crazy. Bosa, I don't love it. Miami is in this thing as well. 49ers rumors. Like I said, Dre Greenlaw is the biggest one. I don't think he's coming back. And I gave you the list of guys that are already signed, already moves that have happened. Let me just double check to make sure we're not missing anything. And again, we've got about 15 minutes until the real heavy petting can begin. And so we'll get something like that. Somebody said Twitter is down. You got to be kidding me. Let me see if Twitter's down. Is Twitter down? No. Let me see. Yeah, it's not looking great. It's not resetting. Oh my God, are you kidding me? On NFL free agency frenzy? This is like what Twitter was meant for. This is kind of stuff, and that's going to come down? You got to be joking me. Is your Twitter working? Can't be me, can it? Oh my God, this is insane. All right. Yeah, I'm telling you, man, this isn't, I'm seeing like 5 minutes ago, stuff like that. This would be crazy. Wow. All right. Let's just see what happens here. Because it looks like maybe it is down. Yeah, because this is all stuff from yesterday. I'm resetting it. This is like DK Metcalf traded. It's like, yeah, I know. That happened yesterday. That happened like 20 hours ago. Man, yeah, this could be true. Twitter could be down. That is crazy on a day like today. Yeah, I'm not seeing any resets here, so we'll keep you up to date on what's going on as far as that goes. But yeah, looks like it. Yeah, all the breaking news is way old stuff. So anyway, all right, we'll keep you up to date on that stuff. Anyway, here is let me get some thoughts. Let me get everybody's questions down, and I'll answer them best I can. And again, if anything, could you imagine if Twitter goes down for a long period of time? My God. Hi, Niner 707. How would Justin Fields fit with the 49ers if Purdy doesn't get a deal done? Fields needs a better system. Honestly, Fields is the exact opposite of Brock Purdy, and they're going to sign Brock Purdy. And Larry Kruger and I went over this yesterday. Remember, Justin Fields was in the same draft as Trey Lance was, and they went to his pro day, and he did all this fancy stuff. And then Kyle Shanahan on the plane ride home, if you believe the reports, was writing up plays for Trey Lance and was not impressed with Justin Fields. Justin Fields doesn't see it. So Kyle Shanahan, what he demands out of his quarterback is, first of all, you've got to process fast. Justin Fields is the worst processor in the league. He does one read and he's out of the pocket. That would drive Kyle crazy because Kyle wants you to run the play as he has it, as he sees it. If you don't execute the play, it drives him through a wall. So Justin Fields is the exact opposite of what Kyle Shanahan wants. Now, he does want some mobility out of his quarterback. Steve Young talks all the time about mobility and the free yards, and I get that. But Justin Fields has never learned to process it. He couldn't beat out Russell Wilson last year, and Russell Wilson wasn't very good. I love the athlete that Justin Fields is. I love the concept of him. He's 26 years old. All these people hype him up, but he doesn't see it. He doesn't see past the first or second read. He does not process fast, and Kyle Shanahan needs someone to process fast. So, and then even as a backup to Brock Purdy, he would be the opposite of what Brock Purdy is. Brock is a processor, quick, not overly athletic. Justin Fields has all the things that you would need out of a quarterback physically, but mentally he doesn't see it, and that's the opposite of Brock. Brock doesn't have all the wonderful physical tools, but he sees it mentally and processes it fast. So you'd want a backup quarterback that would be similar to Brock, so you wouldn't have to change your entire offense for Justin Fields. I know you're going to hate these names, and I do too. But if you're going to go to that draft, so you went to Justin Fields in the Trey Lance draft. Also, Mac Jones, who was somebody that they were in on, who I don't like, but would be more of a fit. Or also in that draft, there was one more that I was thinking about as well. Zach Wilson, who I definitely don't like and was a one-year wonder at BYU behind a veteran offensive line playing a really bad schedule. He wasn't great as a junior, or was it? He came out as a junior. Sophomore, he wasn't great, whatever it was. And I didn't like Zach Wilson, but I could see Zach Wilson, who's a little bit more of an athlete. I could see the Niners going after Mac Jones or Zach Wilson. because they fit more what Brock Purdy is. Justin Fields is a great name, and Justin Fields is going to get paid by somebody, whether it be the Jets or the Steelers or last resort Seahawks. I don't think the Seahawks would take him either. He's a great athlete. He just doesn't see it. And Kyle Shanahan would go bonkers on something like that. I love Bynum. That's a great name. They need a safety. I like Morig of the Raiders too. Somebody that is back there. Holland is going to be too expensive. I just don't trust Jair Brown. And I like him a lot. But if everybody's talking about the defense and what they need, I really think they need a safety, a veteran safety back there that is a free safety. Because remember, Mustafa's going to take over for Huff. I'm not even talking about Huff because there's no chance they resign him. And Mustafa's going to be that missile strong safety. They need a free safety because if you're looking at the youth that they have in that secondary, Renardo Green right now would start. I like Demo. Somebody just hit DJ Reed. That's a good call, my friend. Hi, Joshua. Good morning. You think we snagged DJ Reed? He's a connection, obviously. He was drafted by the 49ers. I've told this story. Krug and I were on the air, and we thought we were talking to Deion Sanders. It was a Saturday, and he was a fifth-round pick, and we're like, what in the what? So that he makes sense. How much does he want? And I'll go back down to, and thanks for the question, and keep them coming, as we're doing free agency frenzy, which is going to go literally bonkers in about 10 minutes, and probably is going bonkers now. So I'll make sure that it's a great point about Elon. What do you do? Kill it during the NFL type of deal? So somebody was, let me go to this real quick, just because we were just talking about corners. Let me go to corners here. I know I have corners here somewhere. Sorry, I shouldn't have sniffed right in your face. Those are safeties. Is that another safety one or is that corners? There's your corners. Ward's wife has PTSD, not coming here. DJ Reed is number 2 on the list. Carlton Davis is talking all sorts of tragedies. I'm not taking less this time. Byron Murphy is rumored to the Raiders. Rasul Douglas, not a huge fan. Adebo, a guy right there, Paulson Adebo, is a guy that played at Stanford. He's 26, had an injury. Those two guys right there, Paulson Adebo and Asante Samuel Jr. are two guys that I would not mind at all. Hilton is purely a slot, but I like him, and he blitzes really well from the slot. Jordan Lewis is an undersized slot from the Cowboys. I think Demo plays slot fine. I think they're looking for an outside corner. So number 6 and 7 on that list, I wouldn't be surprised with those guys. DJ Reed, I wouldn't be surprised either, but he's probably going to be a day oneer. And even though I think Robert Saleh would love him, and he has a Demo type mentality in the way that he plays the game because he's smaller and he kind of has this me against the world mentality, he would be perfect. He's only 28. He was with Seattle. Seattle picked him up after the Niners let him go, and then he went to the Jets after that and played for Robert Saleh. Number 2 on the list. I like him a lot. I like DJ Reed. I just think he's going to cost money, and I think he's going to be, obviously everybody's going to cost money. Duh, Lund. But I think he's going to cost more money than what the 49ers want to spend at that position, I guess is what I'm saying. So we shall see. What's shaking, diehard? What's shaking, bro? Let's go. Let's get this going. Is Twitter back up, by the way? Woj, Twitter is down. Boy, I dodged a bullet. Is that what Woj said? Twitter is working, according to MJ. Okay. For a minute there, it wasn't, because I was resetting, and it was all this news from yesterday, and it's like, who cares about that? I don't care about that. I don't care about all this news I know from yesterday. People are losing their mind if that happens. Let me just hit this up again. I'm going to reset this real quick, but Josh Allen, Myles Garrett, DK Metcalf, Devontae Adams, Sherwood back to the Jets, Geno trade, Ernest Jones back to Seattle, Harold Landry to New England, Jaron Reed, Seattle, Aaron Jones back to Minnesota, Nick Bolton back to KC, DJ Jones back to Denver. Sorry. Khalil Mack this morning, 1-18 to the Chargers, JC Horn extension 4-100 back to Carolina. And Carolina, by the way, has boatloads of money. So Carolina is going to be one of those dumb teams that everybody says one free agency and then they're going to stink again. So let me reset Twitter and see where we're at. Did somebody, here we go. Visiting with the Vikings. So somebody said Allen and the Vikings are close. I hope he goes to the Vikings. I got to be honest with you. The 70th ranked defensive tackle coming off a pec injury who's 30. No thanks. I know that they're incredibly thin at defensive tackle. The 49ers know this. The 49ers are smart. I know that you're, this and that. There's all these articles coming out. The 49ers, I think, deserve the benefit of the doubt. And if they're clearing out their defensive tackle room, they have a plan. I think. I could be wrong, but I'm not a Jonathan Allen guy. I'll be honest with you. When coming off the pec, being 30, he reminds me a lot of Joey Bosa. Great name, not a great player at this point of his career. So I would not love Jonathan Allen. I would like Poona Ford. Poona Ford had a much better year with the Chargers last year. He's 29 years old. So, yeah, Twitter's working again. So, you get these names and everybody loves the big name, and then they come in and they're not very good. There's a few names out there. Like I said, Morig is not getting enough. Bynum is not getting enough. The safety. There's just some other guys. By the way, guys I think they're going to lose. I just scribbled down a bunch of notes this morning. Hufanga gone. I told you about Greenlaw because of what happened with the linebacker market with Ernest Jones yesterday, and Sherwood and Bolton signing anywhere from $13 to $15 million a year, and they think he's worth $8 million. That's where I think we're talking about with Jed drawing the line, so they're not going to go in that range. Jalen Moore shocks me. $20 million. We talked $20 million for him. Every time he's come into the game over his career, I just wince. Now he's gotten better. There's no question about it, but he's a below average tackle in this league. And people have talked about $20 million. That's why free agency is such a Aaron Banks, they're talking about $20 million. These teams, because they have money and they drafted, but they didn't develop or re-sign, which is what good teams do. Draft, develop, re-sign, draft, develop, re-sign. That's what they do. That's what good teams do. And they sit out, especially this first day of free agency, and then they selectively look. It's like going to, like a secondhand store or something, and you find these gems and it doesn't cost you as much money. That's what the good teams do in free agency. They go secondhand shopping, or they go to Marshall's, or they go to TJ Maxx. So they go, and all of a sudden you get these deals, and that's what they do. They don't go out on the first day and overspend. That's just not what they do. And that's what the bad teams do. That's what Carolina's going to do today. That's what New England's going to do today. Probably the Raiders will do that today. There's a number of teams that are always in this predicament in having a bunch of money in free agency, and everybody goes, God, why are they there every single year? Because they don't draft, develop, and re-sign, which is the key part, their players. And so they got to go to the scrap heap. And there's problems with every single free agent out there. There's not a flawless free agent in this class, because guys like T. Higgins, who's a number 2 receiver that someone would pay like a number 1 receiver, he's been franchised. Jonathan Allen's a great name. Joey Bosa's a great name. There's a lot of guys like that. There'll be a few guys in this class that it's mostly this, guys that you haven't really heard of that are playing for a mid-level team that are, 25 to 28 years old. And all of a sudden they'll turn into Pro Bowls and you're like, I didn't even know that guy. Those are the guys that are going to be like, oh my God. Like last year, I know Barkley obviously was a big one, but Philly assigned Zach Bond on a 1-year deal. He was a special teamer for the Saints. And all of a sudden it's like, whoa, this guy made a massive difference. It's somebody like that comes out of free agency that you just go, wow, crazy. How about that guy? This is a great point. Hi, Mike. Good morning to you. This is another guy I think is going to be gone, and it's unfortunate. They're going to need a running back. Jordan Mason's just going to be too expensive. There's a team that saw him when Christian McCaffrey was out that first half of the year, and Jordan Mason was leading the NFL in rushing, and he's a north-south runner, as you well know. And somebody's just going to give him a chance, and the 49ers aren't going to be able to afford him. So, some of the depth pieces are obviously going to be gone with the 49ers. But, yeah, a guy like Jordan Mason I expect to be gone. So, Huff I expect to be gone. Greenlaw, Jalen Moore, Aaron Banks, Jordan Mason, Javarius Ward obviously is gone. So, those are the guys that are going to be gone. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to have a bunch of money to spend. But that's it. Look, I think the 49ers on a last place schedule are going to be better. I think they're going to have moderate health makes them a lot better than they were a year ago. So I think they'll be fine. But no matter how you want to slice that, losing Hufanga, losing Greenlaw, losing Jalen Moore, who's a depth piece, losing Aaron Banks, fine. Losing Jordan Mason, that's a great depth piece that you're going to have to replace somehow in the draft. And losing Javarius Ward, even though we knew once Ward had the off-the-field issues with his baby daughter who died just short of her 2nd birthday, and he said in the locker clean-out day, my wife can't even come back here. She has PTSD. She can't even come back to California. So obviously, Javarius Ward was never going to come back. But Ward, Mason, Banks, Moore, Greenlaw, Hufanga, that's a lot to lose. And then they've released, and again, he wasn't very good last year, but Malik Collins has been released. There's going to be more guys released so they can get under this thing. But they're going to lose a lot of guys. There's no question. But they've got to be smart in looking at their money, and they're not going to be a day oneer and throw a bunch of money at it. You mentioned DJ Reed. I'd love it. One of the veteran safeties. I'd love it. They've got to replenish along the defensive line. But some of the things match up for the 49ers, as grim as I'm kind of making this sound. It's a great draft for defensive tackles. Daniel Jeremiah said there's 24 starting grades on defensive tackles. To put that in perspective, he had 12 last year. So that's really good for the 49ers as far as drafts. So maybe if they don't, they don't want to overpay for a Jonathan Allen. I wouldn't. If they can't get a Poona Ford, and you've got Pete Carroll back in, he's in Vegas. Poona Ford played for Seattle for a long time. They need a defensive tackle next to Christian Wilkins. I could totally see that. So, it goes back to connections, but that's somebody that I saw that. And he was the 4th rated defensive tackle by Pro Football Focus at 29. And I'm like, that guy. And he can stop the run. He's not a big pass rush guy, but he's almost impossible to move out of the middle. He's not even 6 foot tall, and he's over 300 pounds. Like, just try to move that guy. Best of luck for you. I'd rather have him. But I think maybe they're going to do that in the draft. And I think there's a guard out there that I think they can get in free agency to replace Banks for a lot less money. I'd really love it if they got a safety. There's not a lot of great linebackers. They may have to, if and when Dre Greenlaw leaves, they may have to look at the market. It is 9 o'clock straight up, by the way. We've been going 50 minutes on the show. It's 9 o'clock straight up. It is working. The heavy petting tampering period has started. So let me make sure that we haven't missed anything, because all of a sudden it's going to be like so-and-so, 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 so-and-so. And it's like, oh, but that would be tampering. Seahawks talking to Aaron Rodgers. That would be amazing. Now that would be amazing. It's like, oh, I'm not a fan. I mean, culture-wise, he's a terrible guy. Everything. All right. Everybody on Twitter is like, free agency has started. It's like, yeah, we know it's started. So give me some news, man. That's all I care about. I know that it started. I can read a clock. It's 9 o'clock. Let me go into the Myles Garrett thing for a second, since we're waiting for things to happen. Yeah, by the way, Mason Garrett, good call, bro. Mason Garrett's restricted. What I'm saying is that the 49ers could match or not, and I don't think they would. I just don't think I think he's a guy that's going to slip through the cracks. I love the guy. With Garendo and what they think of him, he could be the backup, and then I think they would go in the draft, as Kyle is want to do, and grab a running back in that way. So, look, I like Shaq. I like Jordan Mason. He's a north-south guy, fits the scheme perfectly. I think that even when Christian McCaffrey was healthy, I would have used him more to try to keep Christian off the field a little bit. I'm not talking just last year. I'm just talking in general, because the guy can play. He's a punisher, but he's a luxury they can't afford. And I go back to what the piece that Mike Silver wrote is, and look, I've talked to people and I know what's going on down there. I don't agree, and I'll reiterate this from Friday and Saturday. I do not agree at all about the premise that Jed York does not want to win at a really high level anymore. That's not what it is, and that was mentioned in the piece. That's not true. What's true is they're not going to do some of the things they've done in the past that they deem now stupid, and that doesn't mean Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy is a necessity. You need a quarterback. So they're not drawing the line at Brock Purdy. They're going to draw the line at Dre Greenlaw is not worth 15 when we said he's worth 8. Jordan Mason is not worth the type of money that someone's going to pay Jordan Mason, because he's a starting running back in this league, and he can be good. And when you say 1,000 yards, 1,000 yards is nothing anymore, especially in 17 games. I mean, I'm talking about Jordan Mason as like a 1,300 yard rusher. He can do that. And the 49ers are saying, look, we've got Christian McCaffrey. We paid Christian McCaffrey last offseason. He's going to get healthy. We think he's going to be fine. Isaac Garendo can be the number 2 back. They hardly even need a number 2 back when they have McCaffrey when he's healthy. He never comes out of the game. So you're not going to overpay for Jordan Mason. I like him. I'm not saying I don't. I'm telling you what the mentality of the 49ers is at this point. The line is not Brock Purdy. The line is Dre Greenlaw. The line is Jordan Mason. The line is Hufanga. The line is Jalen Moore. The line is Aaron Banks. They're not going to get into crazy money for players that they don't feel like are necessities of the team moving forward. Does that make sense? I hope it does. All right, what else? See, I'm not here for Austin Hooper re-signing with the Patriots. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here for much bigger things than that. Let's go. I'm not here for Evan Brown goes back to the Cardinals. Come on, man. Help me out, man. Let's go. All right. Let me just keep going here. I'm not here for the Vikings agreeing to terms with their punter. Come on, man. Or Washington agreeing to terms with their punter. Like, come on, man. That's not even an appetizer for this whole thing. Oh, let me delve into Garrett just because that just popped up on my screen. So you and I spent probably an inordinate amount of time talking about Myles Garrett and possibly for the number 11 pick, which I would have done in a second. But what do I tell you all the time in the show? It's 100% about money, right? I say that all the time. And you're like, Lund, it's not. It's like Myles Garrett sends out a statement. It's been great in Cleveland. I know I'm going to Canton up the road, but I want to win. And then Jimmy Haslam, the owner of the Browns, goes 4 years, $160 million, $40 million a year for an edge rusher. for an edge rusher. Like, we just barely went through that threshold on quarterbacks. Mahomes a couple of years ago was making like 45 a year, and we're like, oh my God, 45 a year. Now they're giving it to edge rushers. So Myles Garrett goes, nope, okay, I'll stay. 4 and 160, $40 million a year after Max Crosby gets 35.5 per year. So Myles Garrett stays. 100% about money all the time. So that's why I'm looking at these money situations and some of these guys getting overpaid. And I'm like, and that's what Jed York is saying. And it's like, no way, man. We're not doing that. $40 million for an edge rusher. That's why I think Joey Bosa, because I told you this either on Friday or Saturday. He said, I would do Joey Bosa for $10 million plus a bunch of incentives. But now Joey Bosa is looking at himself going, okay, if Garrett got 40 and I know I've been hurt and I know I haven't played in games and I know I haven't had double-digit sacks since 2021, but if he's worth 40, then I'm at least worth like 15 or 20. And I'm like, no, you're not. No, you're not. So if that's what Miami's going to give him because they want the old Joey Bosa, then he's not getting anywhere near here. So anyway. Hi, Bill M. Another screw up by the Niners. They should have re-signed Mason last year. Would have been cheaper. Yeah, like I said, I would be shocked if Mason came back because he's restricted. People know what the situation that the 49ers are in, and they're just going to make a good offer. Well, it doesn't even have to be a great offer for Mason, and I don't think the 49ers will match it because their thought in their head is if Christian McCaffrey's coming back, he's going to be the majority of the snaps anyway. What's Jordan Mason going to get on the 49ers? 6-8 carries a game tops? I mean, if I'm Jordan Mason's agent, I'm asking the 49ers not to match because he's going to be a starter. And I think somebody's mentioned in the Cowboys with Greenlaw. Bring back Greenlaw, you cowards. I don't think they're going to do it. I hope I'm wrong, dude. I really do. But in terms of a Shaq Mason, a Jordan Mason, I see him as like if I'm Dallas and Dallas has money, like I need a starting running back. There's Rico Dowdell was their starting running back last year. Mason north-south with the Cowboys. I do that in a second. He's their starter, and he's their Christian McCaffrey. He's going to get 300 totes. So he's like, that's where I want to go. I did see. Hi, Daniel. Grady Jarrett got cut. He's in the Jonathan Allen to me. I looked up Grady Jarrett. Do you know that Pro Football Focus didn't even have him in their top 100 defensive tackles last year? I like him a lot, but we're thinking about the Grady Jarrett that played so well against the Patriots in the Super Bowl when Kyle Shanahan was the offensive coordinator in Atlanta. That's the guy you want, but that guy's not here. That guy's just not around anymore. You take a bunch of hits inside. It's tough. You're 30 years old inside. You've gotten beat up your whole career, double team like Grady Jarrett has, like Jonathan Allen has. Those are great names. Joey Bosa. Those are great names, but they're a little bit like running backs, and you get them to that certain year, and it's like they're done. They've been beat up. A guy like Khalil Mack, who re-signed with the Chargers for 1 year and $18 million this year, or just this morning, I should say, he's just an exception to the rule. He's awesome. But most guys around that age, especially you get into that 30, 31, you can be a rotational guy. But Grady Jarrett's a great name, not a great player. Jonathan Allen's a great name, not a great player. Joey Bosa's a great name, not a great player. To me, those are not the kind of players I'm looking for if I'm the 49ers. I'm trying to mine for guys who are in that perfect age, in their prime, 25 to 29. That's why guys in free agency, you don't see a lot of those guys. So you got to try to find those kind of guys. And I've sat there. Hassan Reddick to Tampa. Is that true? Let me double check here. Yeah, because I'm yapping away and it's like 9:08. Let's go. What do we got here? By the way, Christian McCaffrey, he and his wife are gonna have a baby. That's good. I don't need to see the skill position players for the Rams. Get out of here. I know Devontae's going there. A lot of people have very, very bad Photoshop skills, by the way. Like Devontae Adams being Photoshopped into a Rams jersey, and it's like, his head looks like it's about 10 times too big. My goodness, man. That's funny. Yeah, nothing yet. Anybody seeing anything? Is that true? Is that Hassan Reddick? Not that I don't believe you, Tacky. I do believe you, Tacky. Who's reporting that? I'm trying to find everything. Not to pull this thing up. I have another one. I have another thing here with the NFL stuff. Yeah, see, all this stuff's breaking. I don't know if my Twitter's working, man, because I'm getting stuff that's old. Okay, 3 minutes ago. There you go. Oh, you're right on, man. Hassan Reddick has agreed to terms. 1 year, $14 million, 12 guaranteed with the Buccaneers. I got to add that to my list now. Hang on a minute. Hassan Reddick to the Buccaneers. Well, that long thing is over. How bad was that thing last year with the Jets? That was brutal. So I got to update that. Hang on a second. Get that out of the way. Hassan Reddick. See, I'm keeping this thing. I'm trying to keep this thing up to date here. And I'm doing this live on the air, so I apologize for not being as entertaining as I normally am. Hassan Reddick. Bucks, right? Move this thing over because I'm going to flash this thing back up on the board a little bit later. So let's keep this thing up to date. Boy, I'm so slow at this, but it's not really my fault. It's the fault of the God dang this thing. What do you get? 1 year? Yeah, I'm not going to do this the whole show. This is not going to work. 1 year deal with Tampa. I don't know what the term. I said the terms a minute ago, but this thing's so slow that it's killing me. Okay, yeah, there we go. Tampa Bay. All right. Let's keep that thing up to date. All right, Hassan Reddick to Tampa. That is the latest, and I'm not going to do that anymore. That's the last time I do that. That was very boring. More to the Chiefs. Is that done? This is what's so hilarious. I get grief all the time for people going, but Lund, that would be tampering. And then we're 10 after 9, and we're getting all these things that deals are done with all these guys. Unbelievable. Let's see. Are you talking Jalen Moore? No. I love it when people are saying this is Seattle's offense now. It's like, yeah, they're not going to do anything in the offseason. Let's see here. Sorry about that. I'm just trying to get Kansas City 2-30. Okay, now we hate you. 2-30, Jalen Moore. 2-30 for Jalen Moore. So as latest, we told you Jalen Moore was going to be gone. So let me just write this down real quick. Jalen Moore, that's a lot better. $230 million, Kansas City. And they needed a left tackle because they had the kid from BYU for a while. He was terrible. They had to move Joe Thuney out there. Joe Thuney got traded to Chicago. So there you go. There's the latest Jalen Moore. You just keep looking. Yeah, they massively overpaid, sports fan. I'm not giving Jalen Moore $15 million a year. I mean, that's a low end for a starting left tackle in the league, but that's ridiculous. I mean, they'll see. When Patrick Mahomes gets taken off on a stretcher, they'll see. It's just that's not a good signing. And this is what I mean about free agency. It's not good. I do need an intern. I mean, my God, man, where's my kid? He's probably sleeping in bed. In fact, you know what? I should call him right live on the air and get him on and go, dude, could you help me out here? Could you tell me what's going on in free agency? I got a show to run here. Let's go, man. So keep me up to date. Yeah, Jalen Moore, there's no way. I mean, never. I mean, it's ridiculous. By the way, that's the deal on Hassan Reddick, $14 million, 12 guaranteed. Thank you very much, Tacky. You were all over that. Yeah, it's not a big deal that they lost Jalen Moore. I promise. That's such an overpay for $15 million for Jalen Moore. He's going to be a guy that's going to do 1 year there, and they're going to go, oh my God. I like Jalen Moore as a swing tackle. He'd have been a great player as a swing tackle. See, look at this. Chris Godwin back to Tampa Bay. He was going to cost way too much for the 49ers. Let's see here. Remember, let me preface everything with, if you're a day one team, now Kansas City's a really good team, and $15 million isn't a boatload, even though it's an overpay for Jalen Moore. You don't want to be a day oneer, and you don't want to be a day oneer spending, like a boatload of money. You don't. So when you see some of these deals, and this tends to be your thought process, oh my God, all these teams are signing guys. They're going ahead of the 49ers. And believe me, there's a day 2, there's a day 3. It makes a lot of sense. Jalen Moore is an overpay at $15 million. So again, Jalen Moore to the Chiefs, $230 million. $230 million. And I tell you what, they'll send just for some fun. If the 49ers played the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, they would be sending Nick Bosa would send a limo for Jalen Moore to make sure he got to the game. I'll tell you that right now. Like, Jalen, you're coming, right? Who's this? This is Nick. Aren't you supposed to be getting ready for the Super Bowl against this dude? Yeah, but I just want to make sure you're coming. Like, we don't want to make sure you don't miss the game. Like, you need a limo, you need an Uber, you need an Uber Black. Like, we just want to make sure you make the game, Jalen. Like, is everything cool? Yeah, I'm going to be there, Nick. Don't worry about it. Okay, cool. Good. Just want to make sure you're going to be there. Like, seriously, that's what guys would tell me that in the NFL. Like, I'll send a limo for that dude. Like, Jalen Moore, you play the Niners, Super Bowl Sunday, they're going to send a limo for you, dude. Like, that's just, I'm telling you right now. You want a limo? Because I want to make sure you get there. Right, that's just the deal, man. That's just the way it's going. So anyway, so let me do this really, really quickly, just because I've been doing this all morning long. Movement chart. So let's update this movement chart. Josh Allen, you know about Myles Garrett, DK to the Steelers, Devontae Adams to the Rams, Sherwood back to the Jets, Geno, Vegas, Ernest Jones back to the Seahawks, Harold Landry, New England, Reed back to the Seahawks, Jones back to Minnesota, Bolton back to KC, DJ Jones, Denver, Khalil Mack this morning, Chargers, JC Horn re-signed. Add to that Hassan Reddick to Tampa Bay, 1 year, $14 million, 12 guaranteed. And we just found out Jalen Moore, former 49ers swing tackle, is going to presumably start at $15 million a season, 2-30. I don't know what's guaranteed. 2-30 with the Chiefs. I can tell you that Nick Bosa would send a limo to make sure that Jalen Moore made it to the game. That's one of those signings that KC's going to go, oh boy. It's not. It's just that's free agency for you. There's no perfect guy in free agency, and he got $15 million, and he was going to get $15 million to be the swing tackle for the 49ers. Keep it going. I just want to pop some things up there just by position. So Godwin gone. Diggs is going to take a while. Allen's going to take a while. I don't love that list. I'll give you a wide receiver that I know you're not going to like, but look out for Brandon Cooks with the 49ers, just letting you know. Fast guy. Stockton grew up a 49ers fan. He could fill in. Guards are going to be something. I think as far as the 49ers, watch Jenkins at 4. McClary is a guy that went to Cal. Becton's feet are too slow. Freeze, I heard, is going to Seattle, but I don't know that. James Daniels is a name to watch. Banks, no thanks. Dahlman's going to get paid too much money. I'm not a huge Josh Myers or anybody else on that list. Don't love any of those names on that list to replace Brendel. Defensive tackle wise, Milton Williams is going to get overpaid. Hargrave, no. DJ Jones went back to Denver. Poona Ford's the guy on my list that I'd love to get. Don't know if they can. Jaron Reed went back to Seattle. Wharton's going to get overpaid. Edge-wise, Sweat's getting overpaid. Mack is back to the Chargers. Reddick just went to Tampa Bay. Browning went back to the Cardinals. Ojulari is a name I really like on the Giants, and he's only 25. Linebacker-wise, things did not go well for the 49ers in their hope to keep Dre Greenlaw. Bond is already signed back. Jones, Bolton, Sherwood. So 3, 4, and 5. Actually, 1, 3, 4, and 5 re-signed with their teams on that list. Dre Greenlaw is going to get overpaid. Bobby Wagner re-signed. Kendrick signed with, or verbally said he would sign with the Niners, went to the Cowboys. That could be a guy as a veteran because they're going to absolutely draft a rookie there. So maybe Kendrick's a guy in the short term could be something. Safety is an underrated need for this team. Excuse me, that was corner. Safety is an underrated need. I don't think they'd go with Reed. Afunga is going to be gone. Holland I like, going to get overpaid. Morig is a guy I really like. Chin is more of a strong safety type. Simmons wasn't good in Atlanta after coming over from Denver. The name to watch there, I'm telling you, is Julian Blackmon, who the Niners brought in last year. 27, former third-round pick out of Utah, and actually had a good year with the Colts. I could see him being a guy that the Niners were to go after. So anyway, there's a few names. Probably some guys got signed while I was going through that. What else we got? Hassan Chop. I told you. Let's see. Yeah, thank you very much for that. Did you like that? Banks, no thanks. I didn't even mean to do that. Yeah, that's not a bad one. Zeitler, he's kind of a mauler type. I don't know if he's got the feet for the zone scheme, but he's not bad. I don't know if he can play center. He's mostly a guard, but that's interesting. Not bad. Let's see. Yeah, Big Ben's just joking around. He's got no more throws in that arm. I saw that. Is Joy leaving us already? Because she's like, come on, man. You guys are doing so much free agent talk. I got to get out of here. Is she doing that already? She's bailing on us? I could see that. Yeah, sports fan, you are reading my mind, brother. Jalen Moore was finally playable last year. 4 years, he was awful. He was. Every time he'd go out there, I'm like, blah. And he was decent last year, but $15 million? No thanks. I hope Jonathan Allen signs with the Vikings. I really do. Please, 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 please sign with the Vikings. He's Jonathan Allen in name only. I do not want him. Ben Botch. Yeah, I don't know what they think of Ben Barch. You know, I'm not sure what, he's more of a guard, Barch. So maybe they're thinking with Aaron Banks gone that he would be something like that. Yeah, $15 million is silly. I mean, it's just, I know. I am used to all this kind of money just, getting thrown around like this. I'm desensitized to it to a certain extent, but that's so ridiculous. I know. I need a better Google Doc. I have this thing where I have to change the font and all this kind of stuff. It's stupid. And it just takes way too long. So I'm not going to be able to do it during the show because then I have to sit here and stare at it. And you guys are like, You're not entertaining me at all. What is wrong with you? Ridiculous. Just sitting there going, come on, stop. All right, let me reset everything. Yeah, I knew that. I knew that was happening. So Drew Dahlman to the Bears. He was gonna what's the money on that? Thank you guys. By the way, good job on everybody. See how you guys are helping me? This is a team effort that's going on today. I'm really happy about it. There's Robbie 439, bunch of guys coming up with Dahlman, then F bombing. I told you, man, at the beginning of free agency, I was like, oh, Dahlman. In fact, I probably still have it in my notes here to the side. Drew Dahlman. I was like, oh, they got to get Drew Dahlman. And then as the market started to shape up, I went, they're not getting Dahlman. Yeah, in fact, you know what? I can tell you how much I knew they weren't going to get Dahlman. I took them off my board here that I throw up because I was just like, there's no way. Like I popped it up right here. There was no way they were getting Drew Dahlman. He went to the Bears, and Bears are one of those teams that are throwing away stupid money. And as far as the center is concerned, because I've told you this a million times, I got sick of watching Jake Brendel on his ass last year. I'm not a big Josh Myers guy. He's a kid out of Ohio State. Josh Kelly's going the wrong way. Austin Corbett's not good. Bozeman's not good. I don't like anybody on that list. Evan Brown re-signed with the Cardinals. Good for him. But, yeah, that's not a good list other than Dahlman, and I just knew it. And he went to Stanford. His dad played for the Niners. We've talked about it a million times. But once the market started to shape up the way it did, you just knew it was going to be an overpay. And Chicago is really dedicated to fixing the interior of their offensive line because Caleb Williams holds on to the ball way, way, way too long. And so they picked up Joe Thuney. They picked up Jonah Jackson from the Rams. And now they've gotten Drew Dahlman. And so the interior, the Rams offensive line, and they've gone offensive tackles. So they've got some young offensive tackles on that team. So give it up to the Bears as we talk about what you've got to do as far as the trenches are concerned. The Bears so far picked up Jonah Jackson, Joe Thuney, 2 guards, and then they just got Drew Dahlman. So the thing that the 49ers need to do, but here's the difference. The Bears have been terrible for a long time. They don't re-sign their own. And so the Bears have a bunch of money. So they go out and they get Drew Dahlman, which makes sense. Thank you for keeping me up to date on that. I've got all that. So I'm trying to find out the money. 2 and 30 for Jalen Moore. That is ridiculous. Godwin gets a 366. So a lot of people are like, oh, Chris Godwin, 3 and 66. Not happening. That was never going to happen with the 49ers. Way too long or way too much of a deal. What else do we have here? Son Reddick Buccaneers. We already got that to you. Let's see. Nothing new there. So again, I'm looking for the number on Dahlman. I'm just interested because I think it's going to be like in the $16-18 million range. And that was way too expensive for the 49ers. Again, I don't want you to get all freaked out and down on the 49ers because you don't want to be a major participant in day number 1. You just don't. You know who was a day 1 guy? Javon Hargrave. How'd that work out? So you don't want to panic. You don't want to do that. That's the thing I think that Jed York was talking about in that piece with Mike Silver. They're just not going to do those kind of impulsive things. That's not going to be what they're going to do anymore. All right, keep it going. That is what's going on as far as the latest. I gave you the stuff yesterday. Drew Dahlman being the latest to the Bears. Let's see here. My Twitter is just going bonkers because it's giving me like half of the stuff from yesterday and half of the stuff from right now. And I'm like, come on, man. I don't need that old stuff. All right. Let's see. All right, keep it up. Keep it up to date. Let's see. Here we are, episode 83. We're going back and forth on NFL free agency. What's done? I've got you caught up on that. 49ers rumors, just to reset, if you have been in the room for just a minute, Jalen Moore has gone to the Chiefs 2-year and $30 million. Adios, not giving you that kind of money. Drew Dahlman was a guy that a lot of people liked for the 49ers. Dad played for the Niners. He went to Stanford. He goes to the Bears. A fun guy expect to be gone. Greenlaw expect to be gone. Jalen Moore is gone. Banks is expected to be gone. Mason is a restricted free agent. Someone's going to give him an offer that's going to be too big for the 49ers. And, of course, Shavarius Ward, especially with the issues with his daughter, he is not expected back. So they're going to need something there. Although I know that Renardo Green they like. I just think they could use another corner. DJ Reed's a name that people have thrown out there. And as far as names I like, and as soon as I say these, they'll be gone. Cam Bynum, the safety. Puna Ford, defensive tackle, not Jonathan Allen. James Daniels, the guard. Jenkins, who's been hurt a lot for the Bears. Now, they don't have any need for him, and he's not going back there, but he's been hurt. Brandon Cooks is a name to watch at wide receiver to fill in the short term for Brandon Ayuk. What else? Eric Kendricks could make some sense, I guess, at linebacker because he did agree to terms with the Niners. Then went to the Cowboys because all the linebackers outside of Dre Greenlaw are off the board, the best ones, and they raised the market on that. And I don't expect Dre to come back. Although the fact that he hasn't signed already is good news for the 49ers. I would say that because I would have thought after all the linebackers went off the market yesterday that his market would be red hot and there'd be a bunch of teams that would want him. 3-42 for Dahlman. That's not horrible, but that's what, 14, 15, not 15. That's about 14 a year, right? 14, 28, 42. Yeah. Wow, I'm good at math. So 3-42 for Dahlman. Just write that down real quick. So that's 14 a year. And that was going to be too rich for the Niners blood, 14 million a year. So they're not going to do that. They were never going to do that. So 14 million a year for Dahlman, 3-42. Somebody already probably had that. Let's see. What else? Anything else new? Yeah. People are like, oh my gosh, they missed out on Dahlman. It's like, come on, man. We told you last week that wasn't going to happen. I mean, I was like excited about it. And then I started talking to people and they thought he was going to get 16 to 18 million is what I thought, is what people were telling me. So that's a little bit less, but they weren't going to get in that market. There's no way. All right. Nothing new besides that. Let me just reset one more time and we'll talk together, you and I. I'm not ignoring you. I'm just trying to get the latest on everything that's going on. Okay. All right. So that's what we got going on as far as that goes. We will keep you up to date on things real quick since we're waiting for another thing to happen here. Let me see if I can see if anybody's giving me anything new because you guys are resetting the things just like I am. Questions, comments, thoughts, just let me know, by the way. Mark Andrews, he's been hurt a lot. Elijah Mitchell to the Chiefs. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. I got great insight onto Elijah Mitchell. His agent, so that first year that Elijah Mitchell had, 925 yards rushing, and the Niners wanted him to play, and they think that he was fine, and his agent was like, he's not playing. He's got to watch out for himself. It's like, he's a rookie, dude. He's got to keep playing. He didn't. And so the Niners thought it was a lot of the agent, not Mitchell himself, but they kind of had it out a little bit for Elijah Mitchell and his agent. And so that was never going to happen. They were even pissed off last year that he was out of the year so early. So you knew that Elijah Mitchell wasn't going anywhere. And that's going to be a nice signing. That's what I'm talking about. The Chiefs, I don't love the Jalen Moore signing at $15 million, and they're going to find out. But Elijah Mitchell is the type of pickup for a team like Kansas City, a smart team. They're a smart team, and he's going to give them dividends. I'm not saying he's going to rush for 1,200 yards there, but he's going to be a solid back. He's a nice back. Problem with him is he gets hurt. And the 49ers, again, philosophically, they're sick of paying for hurt guys. And Elijah Mitchell's a hurt guy. So Elijah Mitchell, somebody saying to Kansas City, I'll double check that. And it's not that I don't believe you. I love you very deeply. It's just that we've got to make sure that all that stuff is accurate. I'm not saying it's not. But Elijah Mitchell's the kind of, I'm just giving you an example on a player that I think is somebody that you're going to get value out of unless they overpaid for him. And I doubt they did just because he's been hurt so much. So let me just double check on that one. Let's see. I mean, things are going fast and furious. Plus, I'm just on an NFL feed right here, and it's like, I don't want to let me go to my free agency feed here because this is what I need. I need my free agency feed. This stuff about all this other crap. Chiefs, 1 year, 3.5 for Mitchell, 1 and 3.5. See, that's a nice signing by Kansas City. It's got incentives in it. And Elijah Mitchell's, that's a nice signing. Just stealing stuff from the 49ers. That's a nice signing by Kansas City. Let's see. So they got more, but that was way too much. But Elijah Mitchell. All right. So now I'm on the feed for the NFL. That's a lot better than this other garbage that I was looking at before. Okay. All right. All these people are excited in Kansas City about Jalen Moore. You wait. When Patrick Mahomes gets killed because of Jalen Moore, that's not going to be good. That is not good. Okay. What else? $3.5 million. Yep. We got that. That's good. 3-42, got that. 3-42 for Dahlman, got that. Robbie's like, F the Chiefs. They just took 2 guys from the Niners. Believe me, neither of those guys were in the Niners' plans. Jalen Moore, what was he going to do? He wasn't going to play. He wasn't going to be a starter. So 3 years and $15 million for a swing tackle, or $15 million, 2 years and $30 million. That's not happening. No way. No chance. So there's that. Let's see. What else do we got going on here? Yep. A lot of people were mad about the Dahlman deal. All right, there we are. Okay, I'll reset everything in just a second. If you missed it, I'm scribbling things down. Elijah Mitchell was never coming back. I don't know why people are pissed off about it. That's a good deal by New England, New England, by Kansas City. So if I'm a young team, the teams are going to be throwing around boatloads of money today. I would have gone I would have went with a guy like Elijah Mitchell and again, it's an incentive-laden deal for up to $3.5 million. Why? That's what you got to do. It's stupid to go, that's a guy that has a tremendous amount of upside. You're not going to pay a ton of money for. That's what smart teams do. And you hate Kansas City, and I get it, but that's a great deal. That's a really good deal. So we are an hour, 20 minutes in. Let me reset everything. We are going through let's see. We are going through all of the NFL free agency frenzy. We will reset everything in a minute. I'll give you the latest from what I understand it to be as far as the 49ers are concerned, but it is episode 83. Remember, you are watching on X at John Lund Radio. Maybe you're watching on Instagram at John Lund Radio. Two different places you can watch on YouTube. Please subscribe to both. John Lund Unleashed on YouTube. That's where the chat is. So if you want to jump into the chat and talk some NFL free agency, we'll keep you up to date on everything. Also on Bay Area Sports Collective, we are new there. Please give Bay Area Sports Collective a watch and a like and a subscribe, because I'm on that in the morning. I know that Paulie Mac and Creative Tony are going to jump on at 11 o'clock. Tolbert will jump on today. I'll be on with Tolbert on Wednesday. So we got that going on. The Bay Area Sports Collective. Please, on YouTube, follow that. Facebook as well. And if you want all things John Lund Unleashed, and I know that you do, all you got to do is go to the website, johnlundunleashed.com. I'll be writing a piece later today about NFL free agency. So make sure that you jump on there. And there's the latest as far as John Lund Unleashed is concerned. Say no to Bosa. Say no to Bosa. I got a lot of grief on that on Saturday. They're like, no to Bosa doesn't work, man. So I got a lot of that on Saturday, I guess it was. So anyway, there was my no to Bosa, the latest. But if you want the latest on the 49ers, on everything sports-wise, if you want archived stuff from the show, there you go right there. Meet your host. You got all the social media stuff up there. So there's the latest as far as shows are concerned. Click there, you get more shows. Podcasts, click there, you get more podcasts. The blog, click there, you get more blogs, tons of it. And there's John Lund Unleashed merch, which, by the way, I'm wearing that black hat right there. I'm wearing the black hat. I just ordered that. My wife has ordered the cup. She's very happy with the cup because it fits in her cup holder, and she's like what most women, and she's obsessed with the cup. So anyway, there is the website. Make sure that you check that out as well. johnlundunleashed.com, in addition to all the things you're doing as far as all the other things that you're doing. So there you go, man. I had just covered up everything right there. I don't know what that was, but anyway, we'll keep you up to date on everything. There's a couple different kinds of cups, Joe Schmo. Thank you for joining me, and thank you for asking. The cup that all the women tote around, there's a 25 and a 40 ounce cup, and then there's the one you can take to the gym. There's a different one, which is the metal water one, which is what I use. Is Kinlaw to Washington a deal? Yeah, go ahead. Again, that's Adam Peters going, I helped take him. I'm going to make sure this works. Go for it. You want Kinlaw? That is no loss. No loss. That's probably, again, for Washington, because they're going to lose Jonathan Allen. Kinlaw's probably, I'm going to predict it without even looking at it. Kinlaw's 1-7, maybe. Something in that range with a lot of incentives. I haven't seen it, but I'm going to go ahead and guess that's about 1-7. And maybe it's a base of like 5 with a bunch of other stuff. Let me see here. Let me look at all this stuff. Nope. Oh, somebody's saying that Justin Fields is on the verge of something, and that's going to get us going as far as quarterbacks are concerned, and that'll get me on the quarterback front. Let me just double check what the Kinlaw deal is. Anybody have the numbers on the Kinlaw deal? And I'll reset everything in just a second here. I don't see anything on the Kinlaw deal yet as far as the numbers are concerned. Let me go to this one because I've got I have just a feed there, but let me see here. Yeah, don't see anything on the numbers as far as that goes, but I believe you all. I'm just resetting that really quickly. Kinlaw's whatever. They were never going to sign Kinlaw. That was nothing that I was interested in or you were interested in or should be interested in. Doesn't make any sense. Kinlaw just constantly on skates here. He's one of the most disastrous draft picks they've taken because they traded Buckner and thought he could replace him, and obviously he wasn't able to do that. So we'll see. Let's see. I would be shocked if it was Fields to Seattle. He just doesn't fit what they're doing. there. I think it's either going to be Darnold or Rodgers there, but I could be 100% wrong. I have no insight. I haven't talked to my friends in Seattle this morning. In fact, I need to text them to see what's going on. Is your Twitter down? Or is Twitter down again? Is the NFL so powerful that it's going to crash Twitter? It could. Because you know how many people are on Twitter right now, just reset it, like hitting it again, like you and I are right now? Everyone's just like, completely just resetting this thing so we can find it. So, Kinlaw to Washington. Maybe Tolbert did tweet that he's not on today. I could be 100% wrong on that. I thought he did Mondays, but he could be wrong. I could be 100% wrong. Hi, Ryan D. Good morning. Want to make sure that we say hello and good morning to everybody. Should I do a reset on everything that has happened today? It's absolutely crazy. Now, I'll just do this real quick, and then I'll add to this whole thing. So if you're just joining the show, movement chart, this was mostly yesterday, as you can see there. Josh Allen resigns, Myles Garrett back to Cleveland, DK to Pittsburgh, Devontae to the Rams, Sherwood back to the Jets, Geno trade, Ernest Jones back to Seattle, Harold Landry to New England, Jaron Reed back to Seattle, Aaron Jones, Minnesota, Nick Bolton back to Kansas City, DJ back to Denver, Mac to the Chargers this morning, J.C. Horn extension with Carolina. In addition to that, Jalen Moore, 2 years, $30 million to Kansas City. Good riddance. I'm not giving you $15 million a year. Drew Dahlman was a guy that early in this free agency process I liked, but he goes to the Bears for $3 and $42 million. Elijah Mitchell, smart signing by Kansas City. Deal up to worth $3.5 million. Hassan Reddick goes to Tampa Bay. That's a nice signing for just 1 and 14 with 12 guaranteed on that deal. We just found out that Kinlaw is going to Washington. That's where Adam Peters is. Makes sense for them. They're going to lose Jonathan Allen. I hope Jonathan Allen doesn't come here. Jonathan Allen is meeting the defensive tackle with Washington, who's Jonathan Allen in name only and not in skill, is going to Minnesota. As far as the 49ers are concerned, those linebacker signings are not going to help the 49ers re-sign Dre Greenlaw. I hope he re-signs here, but those guys – now, this is going to be an interesting story, and you let me know if anybody signs while I'm saying this. He'll probably sign with someone as I'm saying this. But if Greenlaw re-signs with the Niners, then that piece that Silver Road is completely irrelevant because – they're not chopping down. They're not saying, okay, the line is Brock Purdy. That's not what they're saying. They're saying the line is somebody like Dre Greenlaw, where the market says he's worth now 13 to 15 million. We think he's worth 8 million. And that's where we're going to draw the line on these kind of things. This is where we were getting crazy before. That's what this means. So for some reason he does re-sign here, which I don't think he will, then that's what that means. Houston's supposedly interested. That makes sense with D'Amico Ryans. The Rams, that would be the worst possible spot. Denver's been mentioned. Atlanta needs defense like crazy. They've been mentioned. So if there's 4 teams in addition to the Niners and those linebackers, like I told you, and Ernest Jones, Nick Bolton, and Jamie and Sherwood re-signed yesterday in the 13 to 15 million range, then that means that that's what Greenlaw's worth. And the Niners don't think he's worth that. I know that. So we'll see. Oh my God. The report on Kinlaw, this is insane. This is why teams are bad. I can't even believe this. Kinlaw's deal is worth $3 and $45 with 30 guaranteed. That's the worst signing of free agency, and I don't know that there's going to be a worse one than that. I thought Kinlaw would get like 1 with a base of 5 and maybe incentives up to 7 or 8. I think he made 7 last year with the Jets. And Washington is giving Kinlaw $3 and $45 with a 30 guarantee. Now let me just pop you something up, and I'll just show you how stupid free agency is. See where Washington is on that list? I know that's small print, and I apologize. Remember I told you about this? Patriots, Chargers, Cardinals, Commanders, we're going to pay stupid money today. Because the Commanders have $72 million in cap space, they're going to just throw stupid money around. And Javon Kinlaw sucks. I mean, there's just no other way to put it. He sucks. He's on skates. He's a rotational defensive tackle at best. We know that. He's a rotational defensive tackle. He can play on rundowns. And he's going to get a 3-year, $45 million contract with $30 million guaranteed from Washington because they have all that cap space. And they're just like, screw it. What are we going to do? Let's suspend it. And again, it depends on how the contract is written, which, by the way, amazing work by the agent in being able to get that deal done in like what? What time is it? How many minutes? 38 minutes. Amazing, because I know they didn't tamper. But that's just a ridiculous contract. Now, here's a bet I'll take. It's probably got some upfront, big upfront money and all that kind of stuff, and then they can probably get out of it in a year. It's everybody, oh my God, it's 3 and 45 with 30 guaranteed. Oh my God. And then get down to it, and it's like a $110 million contract. That's generally what it is. But still, just on the surface and looking at that deal, my brain doesn't believe what my eyes see. Like, my brain's like, reject. 3 and 45 for Kinlaw with 30 guaranteed. That's silly. That's just stupid. That's just like, you have money under the cap, and so you're just going to say, okay, well, we're just going to spend money on that. It's just a ridiculous signing. Ridiculous. God. Oh my God. 3 and 45 with 30 guaranteed, Kinlaw. My God. Like, Kinlaw, if he was successful, would have gotten that kind of a contract. And if he's getting 3 and 45 with 30 guaranteed, Jonathan Allen is not good. Was not highly rated, but I'd take Jonathan Allen over Kinlaw. So what's he going to get? That takes them out of the market probably for him, unless he's going to do like a 1-year deal because he's 30. So this is not a bad thing. I know everybody's going, oh my God, when are the Niners going to sign somebody? Giving Jalen Moore 2 and 30 like Kansas City did, giving Kinlaw 3 and 45 with 30 guaranteed like Washington did, those kind of things are stupid. Patrick Mahomes is going to get his butt handed to him, and that kid from BYU, I can pronounce his first name, Kingsley, is going to be the starting tackle at some point during the season because Jalen Moore is not going to be able to handle it. He's a swing tackle who's getting paid like an above average left tackle, and he's just not. So there's the latest on that. My God, Kinlaw is getting paid that kind of money. I thought it was going to be it'll end up being like a 1-year deal. You watch. But still, it's the agents going, look, let me put it this way. If I was a football player right now looking for an agent, whoever Javon Kinlaw's agent who just got him 3 and 45 with $30 million guaranteed, that's who I want him as my agent. That's just all there is to it. I'll take him as my agent. Like, were you the guy that got Javon Kinlaw 3 and 45 with 30 guaranteed? I am. Can you be my agent, please? I want him to be my agent right now for what I do. I'm going to get a new media agent. My God, you kidding me? Kinlaw. Plus, Kinlaw's hurt all the time and he's overweight. He looks amazing. That's what Adam Peters is looking at. Is like, I know he's good. That's what I mean. It's Adam Peters going, I helped draft that guy. There's got to be something there. And I tell you this all the time. Look for connections. Because Adam Peters is like, I drafted that guy. I scouted that guy. I'm going to the mat for this guy. He can play. And last year, Saleh did the same thing. Like, Saleh's like, I've seen it. I know the guy can play. But the difference is Saleh and the Jets signed him like 1 year and $7 million. They didn't sign him to 30 guaranteed. God, that is ridiculous. That is the dumbest contract ever. Hi, Antonio. Good to see you, man. Very nice to see you. Oh, that's terrible. Yeah, see, the thing is about Adam Peters, like, he had a great year last year and Washington was great, and it's really hard to follow it up. And now people are looking at you and it's like, just they have the money to do it. I just showed you show you cap space. They have the money to do it, which doesn't mean you should do it. But as you look at it there, Patriots, Chargers, Cardinals, Commanders had the 4th most. The Chargers so far have re-signed Khalil Mack. That's a nice move. The Patriots so far have gotten Harold Landry. The Cardinals so far re-signed Evan Brown, an offensive lineman, so they haven't gotten crazy. The Commanders give out the dumbest contract of day one, and I don't think it's going to be beaten, even though we're only about 40 minutes into this thing. Seattle opened up a ton of cap room, released Lockett, traded DK, traded Geno, so they're looking at a lot of things. Their big money is probably going to be spent on Sam Darnold. Steelers have a lot of money. I think that was before DK, though, and that was 5 and 150. The Vikings have money. What are they going after? Nothing. Jaguars always have money, but maybe they've smartened up. Titans are still, there's a lot of money in the league right now just because of the increase in cap. Titans, I'm a little surprised they haven't gone after some guys. The Cowboys, I wouldn't be surprised if they gave Jordan Mason a decent offer that the Niners couldn't resist. The Raiders, some of that money is going to be taken up by Geno Smith. What else do we got? Jets. No one wants to go there. So then we get into the middle of the pack, and that's where the Niners are right there at $34 million, just towards the middle. The Rams, that's probably before the Devontae Adams deal, 2 and 46. In fact, it is, because nothing can become official for a couple of days here. So let's see, March 12th is the first year. So Wednesday is going to be the first day that they can actually put pen to paper, but free agency will be long dead by that point. So Rams in the middle of the pack there, that's going to be Devontae Adams is going to take up some of that money. Panthers there near the middle. J.C. Horn signed a long extension for $100. What else do we have? And then nobody else has any money at the bottom. That's interesting. Dolphins, you see that negative number on the Dolphins? And they're the ones talking to Joey Bosa as well. So we'll see. But I've made my feelings about Joey Bosa. If you're new and you just joined in, these were the top 10 edge rushers last year by Pro Football Focus. Hendricks is going to be way too expensive. Mack re-signed. There's Bosa at 4. Garrett got his new big deal. Watt's going to get a new deal. Parsons going to get a new deal versus a rookie. Anderson's young. Hendrickson's going to get paid a ton. So there's the top 10. There's Joey Bosa at 72. Played in less than half the snaps last year, even though he played in 14 games. He just wasn't effective. So I don't like him a lot. Larry had mentioned Darrell Taylor. Hang on. Had to sneeze. Mentioned Darrell Taylor, who came over from Seattle. You look at those numbers. A 59.8 overall number is atrocious. So, you look at Joey Bosa, 61-1 is not good. Played less than half the snaps. Hasn't stayed healthy. Hasn't had a double-digit sack here since 2021. Has had 14 sacks in the last 3 years. And people are jumping up and down. Joey Bosa and all the Bosa brothers. How great would that be? That'd be amazing. It's a great story. But in reality, he's the 72nd edge rusher. And so I don't love that deal if the 49ers were to do something like that. So that's just the latest as far as what's going on as far as that goes. Kansas City's, it's interesting. Kansas City so far, good signing, I think, in Elijah Mitchell. It's an incentive-lative deal for about $3.5 million. I just don't think Jalen Moore is going to be good at all at left tackle. He's going to be their starter. No way. I just wouldn't do it. Good morning, Tommy. Very good to see you. That's a great, great avatar of Bill Walsh. It's weird because Joey Bosa is 29, going to be 30 in July, but he's an old 30. And he just has not been effective. And I like the guy. He's a better run defender than pass rusher, and I love the story of it. But it's just not a smart – it just would not be a smart signing, just like Jonathan Allen would not be a smart signing. I didn't flash it up there, but he was like the 70th ranked defensive tackle last year. I'm sorry. It's just that's not what the 49ers need to do. They don't need to give out thank you contracts for guys who have a great name but just aren't ready yet. Yeah, he's going to be 30 in July. But he's an old 29. He's just had a ton of injuries, and he's not effective. If I'm the Niners, and I just don't think this is going to happen because even though we just saw that number that Miami's underwater on the cap right now, you can move a bunch of – Seattle was a team that was near the bottom as far as salary cap space. They trade Geno. They trade DK. They release Lockett. They release Draymond Jones and a couple other guys, and all of a sudden Seattle's got like the 5th most cap space in the league. Those are dramatic moves, don't get me wrong, but if teams want to get under, they can. Thank you, Tacky. That's a nice signing by the Jags. Jordan Lewis is a pretty good inside corner. He's a pretty good nickel corner. He's not big, but he's not bad. That's not somebody that would have intrigued me as a 49er because I think Demo will go inside. I think the 49ers need an outside corner, and we keep talking about maybe GJ Reed because of the connection to Robert Saleh, but Jordan Lewis is a pure inside corner, a pure nickel corner, and so that's not bad. That's not bad. I have no issue with that. Let's see. Who else do we got? Anything else? Let me reset this. Good stuff, man. Yeah, keep me up to date on everything because I'm trying to do both things. You're right. I should have had my kid intern for me today. I would have paid him and just said, look, you don't need to go to class today because he's on spring break right now. You know what? I should call him right now and just go get on you just look at Twitter and I'll pay you. As this points out, Jonathan Allen, they saved $15.5 million by cutting him. And then they used that money to go spend $30 million on Javon Kinlaw. Just blows my freaking mind. Free agency is so stupid. And so everybody's like, why haven't we signed anybody? We need to sign somebody. And they freak out. It's like, look, you can really screw your team up by signing the wrong free agents. Just like I don't understand Washington's thinking there. I don't. You're a really good team. Free agents are going to want to come there, and you make a day one for Javon Kinlaw because Adam Peters is just completely convinced that when he drafted him, and he probably pounded the table for him with the Niners, that when Adam Peters was pounding the table for the 49ers, he was like, I know this guy's going to be good, and he wants to double down on it now. He's like, I know the guy can be good. But he's got all sorts of injuries. He's been overweight. He's just not a good player. At some point, you're just like, he's not a very good player, and you give him $30 million? Like, who are you bidding against? Who are you bidding against for Javon Kinlaw if you're Washington? That makes no sense. Just no sense. Eric Branch reporting Moore, 27, made 12 starts in his 4 seasons with the 49ers and was still receiving lukewarm reviews from his O-line coach Chris Forrester in 2024. It's unbelievable. And Jalen Moore is going to get 2 and 30. And even smart teams, like Kansas City's smart. The Elijah Mitchell signing is not bad. But, geez, giving him that kind of money. Like I said, don't freak out if the 49ers aren't paying anybody or anything like that. It's ridiculous. There'll be some good smart signings here, and we'll point them out. But here we go. Close looks like Jeremy Fowler reporting that the Broncos are working to close a deal with Talanoa Hufanga. And again, that's not official, and you may have beat me to that because I'm staring at this kind of stuff. Jimmy Garoppolo back to the Rams. Jimmy G back to the Rams. Oh boy, bet Devontae Adams is very happy about that. Remember that during receiver? Oh my God, he wanted to kill Jimmy G. So Hufanga close with the Broncos. I told you they didn't even have contact with Hufanga. He was going to be way too expensive. Wasn't going to happen. Let's see here. So let me just write that. Huff Broncos in a question mark. Just so I can keep you up to date on everything. We'll see what that number is. That's going to be a big number. I told you in the offseason, I told you in the lead up to free agency, Xavier McKinney, who went to the Packers for 4 years and $69 million, 69, was going to be the benchmark for that one, and I didn't think that the Niners would even be close. I didn't think they'd even try. So that's the latest on that one. Good morning, Ty. It's very nice to see you. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Yeah, let's go, man. We've been doing that. We've been at this since 8 o'clock, and we got to keep going here. Let's see. Let me double check what time it is here. It doesn't matter. 9:50. We're an hour into this thing. Boy, these agents are just amazing, aren't they? Are these agents amazing that they can get these deals done in 50 minutes? Because they didn't tamper. I mean, people tell me all the time, Lund, they don't tamper. That would be illegal, Lund. Remember those guys that were hitting me up and doing that? That would be illegal if they tamper, Lund. They can't tamper. They'll get fined. They'll lose draft picks, Lund. Okay. Thank you. Hi, Bill M. Everyone is getting 14 or 15 minutes. Could that be the new minimum for a decent player? I have no faith in this team to make a good move. I have faith in them making a good move. It's just what I want to clarify, because I have talked to some people on the silver piece. They're not drawing the line on Brock Purdy. They're not drawing the line on a Nick Bosa. They're upset, or he's upset, that they went as far as they did on Ayuk, but I've clarified this many times with you, but I'll do it again. It's a 3-year, $76 million deal that, $25 million is a lot for a wide receiver. And there's a lot of teams this year who watched the Super Bowl and went, oh, yeah, the game's won on the inside, not the outside. What were we thinking? And sorry, they're undoing things. Devontae Adams, Cooper Kupp, trade Metcalf, all these different things. Receivers are moving all over the place, and they're trying to get back to the trenches. I mean, if you look what the Bears are doing, they signed Drew Dahlman. If you're just joining us, they traded for Joe Tooney. They traded for Jonah Jackson. I think Seattle's going to go big into the trenches. That's just what teams they're looking at it going, oh, when Jalen Moore gets 2 and 30 from the Niners, he's not even a good offensive tackle. From the Chiefs, I mean, he's not even a good offensive tackle. Kinlaw gets $30 million guaranteed from Washington. Adam Peters is pounding the table. I helped draft him. He's good. I know it. And it's like, okay, dude, that's up to you. He's not, but okay. So, people are reinvesting in the trenches, and they're realizing that the receiver position is not a mandatory and elite position in the NFL. It's nice to have one, don't get me wrong, but I just think that it's a major problem for teams, and they're trying to undo those things. What I'm saying about Silver's piece is twofold. A, Jed has not lost the desire, the desperation that I feel when I go down to 49ers HQ to win a Super Bowl. That's not accurate. The accurate part is it's not that they're drawing a line on Brock Purdy and his deal. It's stupid contracts. So it's something that they feel like are emotional contracts. Dre Greenlaw at this point, and I could be wrong on this, but Dre Greenlaw seems to me like it would be an emotional contract. Yesterday was not a good day if you wanted to re-sign Dre Greenlaw, because Ernest Jones goes back to Seattle. Sherwood goes back to the Jets. Bolton goes back to the Chiefs, and all to the tune of $13 to $15 million a year, when the Niners think that Dre Greenlaw is worth $8 million. And so that's where it is like, oh my God, we've got to have Dre back. You'd have John Lynch pound. Please, can we have the money, Jed? Please, hello, are you there? We got to have the money. We got to have the money. And it's like, no, we're not overpaying by $7 million for Dre Greenlaw. We're just not going to do it. So that's what the article, where I agree with the article on those kind of things, where they're not going to get emotional. They're going to be a little bit smarter when they do things, a little bit more calculated. But that everybody misconstrued that and said that was going to be Brock Purdy, that they're going to play hardball with Brock. Well, of course they are. That's the negotiation. But they're re-signing Brock. They're not drawing the line at Brock. They're drawing the line at what they would have done in the past is they would have rushed out and signed Dre Greenlaw after those 3 linebackers signed yesterday, which reduced the market and gave Dre a ton of leverage. So, look, if he re-signs here, I'd be pretty shocked because I just don't think about it. But I don't think that's going to happen. Again, getting close on Hufanga is Denver, according to Jeremy Fowler. Jimmy back to the Rams. Kinlaw is the most ridiculous contract of the day. He goes to Washington and Adam Peters, trying to still prove that Kinlaw was a good pick, and he wasn't. 30 guaranteed. Jalen Moore, $2 and $30 million with the Chiefs. That's a bad signing by them, but good luck. Drew Dahlman, who at one point I thought could be a 49er target, but got too expensive, goes to the Bears for $3 and $45. So they've redone their entire interior, their offensive line. Elijah Mitchell, we hardly knew ye after that first year. He goes to the Chiefs with an incentive-laden deal, I'm telling you, for $3.5 million. That's not a bad signing. He fell out of favor early with the 49ers, like his rookie year. Not him, it was his agent. Saying he's hurt. He's got to watch out for himself. And the Niners were like, dude, he's a rookie. He's a rookie. And they're like, we don't care. So that wasn't great. Jalen Moore gets $21 million at signing. God. For a swing tackle who at times almost got 49ers quarterbacks killed. He really did. At times it was like, this guy's coming in? Oh, my God. I'd want out of the game. All right. That is the latest. There is, hello, Harry Johnson. It is great to see you, my friend. You can always contribute to the show. Thank you to the people with the supers. Harry and Macy, look at that extra hour. He's killing me. I have been 14 years. Sorry, bro. Yeah, daylight savings time. And unless people would remind me of it, I don't think about it. But if you're in Arizona, that's different because they don't observe daylight savings time. So now it's an hour earlier. Like my son right now, they're on the same time as we are. Sorry, Harry. I hope we still have you. And even if you're late to the show, it's fine with me. It's just, I'd hate to lose you because you're so good. But yeah, sorry about that. And I'd love to acknowledge you. So thank you very much for the super. I appreciate it. By the way, I might be going down this weekend to Arizona. Could be, because I want to go to spring training. And so we could have something there. So anyway, welcome to the show. We're going through free agency. That is the cover of the show. As we're an hour 47 into it. As you can see, Darnold hasn't signed. Josh Allen extension. Jonathan Allen visiting Minnesota. Dre, I doubt, is coming back. Fungo looks like he's going to the Broncos. There's a picture of DJ Reed. DK Metcalf gets traded to the Seahawks. I don't want Joey Bosa. Could be. Javon Holland is a Bay Area guy. Safety, I really like. Probably getting overpaid, but I like him. And I think they need a safety. It's a place that nobody's talked about. Really, really quickly, just so you know, remember I told you last week about that tape? See that picture of that tape right there? I have it in my dirty little hands right now. But what I did was I finally digitalized that interview with Steve Young. And it's me and Steve in 1998 courtside at Jazz Bulls Game 2, the Last Dance Bulls. And I'm corralling Steve, and he's trying to run away from me. So it's kind of funny. So I have that posted at John Lund Unleashed on YouTube. And I'll put that at johnlundunleashed.com as well. But there's my 27 years I had this stinking tape. I had this hunk of metal up my ass. No, I didn't. This was not up my ass. But this tape I had for 27 years, and it actually held up pretty well. Game 2 NBA Finals, and so I digitalized it and laughed because I'm trying to do radio voice guy. What's going on? Steve Young's with us courtside. I'm trying to be Mr. Authority. It's like, bro, like lighten up, Francis. So anyway, let me get back to the live chat to see what I've missed here. What other dumb signings have there been today? Let's see here. Anything else? Yeah, you're saving time for Kaminga, aren't you? Yes, I am. I'll get into Kaminga when we run out of stuff. See, this one hurts me. I like this move. This is a nice move by the Giants, depending on the money that they're giving out there. But that was a guy that I was kind of holding out hope to. Inconsistent, had injuries. I thought maybe the market would drop a little bit so the 49ers might be able to pick him up, because when he's healthy, the former Stanford Cardinal, when he's healthy, Debo's not a guy that he's a guy that I like. And he played well at Stanford, and he had some injuries, and he's been up and down. There's no question about it. But he's a nice player. And if they get a guy that is healthy, and that's probably why the Niners didn't pursue him, and probably he's going to be, if he's going on day one, then he's probably getting too much money as well. Then that's going to be an issue. I agree with you on Mitchell, only available for 27 of 60 games. And thank you, Jason, for pointing it out. As I told you, there was an issue early on in his career where the agent, after his first injury, I can't remember if it was a knee or something, the Niners and he and his side were at odds about how severe the injury was. And the Niners were like, he can play. Our doctors looked at him, he can play. And the agent, when Mitchell was a rookie, had the 925-yard year, was a rookie, the agent was like, now we got to watch out for his future. It's like, he's a rookie. He's trying to prove himself. He's a 6th-round rookie. He needs to play. And the agent was like, nope, we're holding him out. So, yeah, sometimes he was injured. There's no question. Sometimes it was like, I'm just holding out for the future. And last year, I can just tell you, the Niners were not happy that he made the decision he did to shut it down when he did. Because he's like, well, he's going to be a free agent. Well, congratulations. You parlayed that into a $3.5 million incentive-laden deal. So it wasn't like it was great. So that's anyway. Adebo's a guy that I really like, the corner at Stanford. That's a bummer, but he probably wasn't coming here. I got to see what the number was there. What else do we have? Again, we're waiting on Hufanga. Looks like maybe to Denver is what we're hearing on the latest stat. Let me just double check to make sure we're not missing anything here as we're looking at the chat line, but I want to make sure we're not missing anything on the front here. Yeah, I already saw Brown. I already know. Let's see. Yep, Funga. They're still saying they're working on it. Nothing new there. Okay. All right. Nothing new as far as that goes. All right. If anything happens, you let me know. As far as a couple other things I'll mention, I mentioned Steve Young, 1998. If you want to watch that one, or at some point, it's an audio interview, but I just put a cover on it, so you can check that out as well. Kind of had some fun doing that. I listened to the whole hour of the pregame show, by the way. It was pretty incredible. So you can see that at some point. Over the weekend, we did a Saturday show. We talked more about the 49ers being desperate to win. So if you missed the Saturday show, episode 82, you can go back and watch that one as well. That's on John Lund Unleashed and Bay Area Sports Collective. Cap space I already went over with you. So there's the cap space as far as that goes. Again, the Commanders using it to go after Javon Kinlaw. Movement chart, we've gone over that a couple of different times, so I'm not going to get into that too much, but that was as of this morning, as of 8 o'clock when we went on the line, when we went on the show this morning. A lot of re-signings, essentially, and there have been a lot that have happened since the show started, so we'll keep you up to date on everything as far as that is concerned. By the way, if you'd like to subscribe, Bay Area Sports Collective, click on that with your phone right now, and then you don't even have to leave the show. That's where I am, Tommy, and that's where Polly is as well. Polly is going to have a show at 11 o'clock. Somebody told me Tolbert is not having a show today. I thought he was, but I could be wrong. And I know that I'm going to be on Tommy's show on Wednesday, and we'll go back to chopping it up from there. As far as other things gone on, I've already done NFL free agency. We're in the midst of what's done. We're doing that throughout the thing. Not huge on Bosa. Seahawks gone crazy. Steve Young from 98. Kuminga's still out. So Warriors back on the court tonight. I honestly, I feel like I'm in a restaurant. My food is taking forever. And, you get that thing where it's like, what did they have to do? Go, did they have to go kill the cow and, all that kind of stuff? I just he's missed 31 games with that ankle now. And the only thing really as far as the Warriors go, what they do down the stretch is important. I just think they need to hold on to the 6th seed. And Jimmy Butler was great over the weekend. They get another win, but you need to incorporate Kuminga into this thing. I just think that if they want to go to the places they need to go, Kuminga would be a big part of it coming off the bench, and they need to figure it out. And if I'm Jonathan Kuminga, I'm hoping he's watching Jimmy Butler's game and wants to be that. Get to the line, mid-range. If you got an open 3, fine. Drive to the basket. Nobody can stop him. The guy's fast, athletic. He can get to the rim anytime he wants to. And think about just getting to the line if you don't score. I hope that that's the case. And I hope that he understands, because agents can be a big part of this. I just told you that with Elijah Mitchell. Agents can get in his ear and say, Jonathan, if you're going to get that big contract, you need to start. And I don't want him to be a pain in the butt. He can't start with the way that this team is concerned, because Butler doesn't shoot well enough. Draymond doesn't shoot well enough. If Minga in there, then that's a third non-shooter, a distant shooter on your starting lineup. You're not going to do that. So he's got to be cool with coming off the bench. So they've got to get him incorporated into this thing. We're less than 20 games left. We're down the stretch. And so they got to get him incorporated into this offense. So I just wanted to make sure I mentioned that, because I wrote it down. Giants weekend we'll get to, Caboose we'll get to, random we do throughout the show. And that's up to you to make me go random. That's not up to me. Although I could tell you some good Steve Young stories and so forth. But we're trying to keep you up to date on what's going on as far as the NFL free agency is concerned. And if you have any questions, by the way, fire them my way. What are we saying about that? Mike, that's a good call. Look, I like Asante Samuel Jr. I wouldn't mind that at all. 2 picks prior to that, just playing I like him. And I know that there's been lots of talk about Asante Samuel Jr. That'd be nice. All I'm simply saying is that a veteran in some way, shape, or form, I really think a safety. And then I like Bernardo Green, but they need a veteran corner. That secondary, I think, needs a veteran safety, free safety, not strong safety. Mustafa's going to be the strong. But they need a free safety, and they need a corner so that Bernardo Green can be a third corner, which would then push Demo Lenore into the slot on passing downs. That would be optimal, I think. But I could be wrong. That's a nice signing. I don't mind that. This is going to be an overpay without even looking at it. Tacky is doing a tremendous job. That's Titans. Titans have a lot of cap room, so that doesn't surprise me. I bet the Titans were probably in on Jalen Moore as well, because Dan Moore and Jalen Moore are pretty much the same guy. Dan Moore comes over from the Steelers. He's a little bit better, I think, but they've been looking to replace him for a long time at left tackle. And so the Titans have a bunch of money and are desperate, and I bet the Titans probably paid more for Dan Moore than the Chiefs did Jalen Moore. I don't even know that for a fact, but I'll bet you on it without even looking at it. So, by the way, you know what's funny? In fact, you know what? I'm going to, while we're doing this, let me just play one quick thing out of the Steve Young, because here's what's funny about it. I'll double check on the numbers for those guys, but let me just do one thing that's self-serving, but just for a second. So you want to hear something funny? So again, just to go back to this, and you can listen to the whole thing later. So I find this tape almost 30 years ago, and it was a courtside interview I did in 1998 at the NBA Finals. I was the courtside reporter for the Utah Jazz radio network, and we're doing the pregame show before Game 2. And just to set this up really quickly, when the let me just double check this. Okay. What's going on is there's no room on the court. There's no room whatsoever on the court. And because there's so much media, and so like all these people, and the guy that you're going to hear who's the pregame host, his name's David Locke. If you've heard the Locked On Podcast Network, that's David. Got me into the business 30 years ago, and he's the courtside host with Tom Nasalki, who's now passed away. But you'll hear him in the introduction here. This is 1320 KFan in Salt Lake City in June 5, 1998. And you'll hear him say, and Steve Kerr is shooting on one end of the court. This is how old this is. Watch this. Let me just play this really, really quickly, and we'll go back to all NFL all the time. So listen.
NBA playoffs, Jazz courtside is on 1320 KFan. The Jazz are getting ready for the Bulls. Let's go back to the Delta Center for the insight of the coach Tom Nasalki with David Locke on 1320 KFan.
Steve Kerr's launching shots from 3. Chris Morris practicing free throws on the other end as we come to you live from the Delta Center. David Locke, along with the coach Tom Nasalki. KFan time 6:23. Steve Young finishing up some stuff with can't figure out who he's with, but he's with somebody, and then he'll be coming over to John Lund here in just a moment, so we'll have that conversation upcoming. Let's go to John Lund, who's standing by with the quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers and is also the former BYU great. Steve Young is with our John Lund here courtside at the Delta Center.
Steve, kind of nice to maybe be watching the game tonight and not having to be playing in it. You're used to these situations.
I don't know which one's worse, sitting at home and watching it or being right there, because it's, I'm nervous for the guy. I want to see him win. I feel like I'm watching my brother play football. I'm way more nervous to watch than play. And so I think that's why fans struggle so much, because we have nothing to do with it. So we just have to watch and be nervous.
You know the pressure that these guys are under, Steve. What are they feeling right now before a big game like this in a finals-type situation?
They're used to it. It's not as bad as
you would think. We'll
I got to
go
take
through
a
this
picture.
later.
Talk for a second.
Yeah, well, hang on. Guys, Steve Young's got to take a quick picture. He's ever popular, as you can probably tell. Everybody's trying to get on to Steve Young. He'll be back with us in just 1 second. Well, it's okay. I got to hit everybody.
You're trying to get a piece of him also.
Jack Nicholson's waiting to talk with you, John.
What's that?
Jack Nicholson's up here.
See, that was the day I got turned out by Jack Nicholson, too. I went up to Jack Nicholson. I've told you that story probably before. But it was the NBA Finals, and I'm just running around. I got a live mic, and they put me in what's called queue, and I'll run up to somebody and I'll say, hey, can I get a couple of minutes with you? And the court is just packed with celebrities and people like that. Oh yeah, my voice is like, hello, I'm radio guy. And so Steve Young is like a god there because he played at BYU, and this is 1998, so he's still the quarterback of the Niners, and he's running around the court taking pictures with people, and he's trying to ditch me, and I'm just like, no way, I'm not getting ditched. You can hear that whole conversation at johnlundunleashed.com, but I'm like, I'm not getting ditched. So I got about 8 minutes with him. But earlier in the day, like I said, I just walk around with this live mic, and then I do it in the post game as well, and I was the Bulls locker room guy. But I walk around during the day, during the show, during the pregame. I walk in the locker room for both teams. And I try to talk to everybody. So like Jack Nicholson was coming across the court, and I ran up to Jack Nicholson. That was the reference that Coach Tom Nasalki, who's now passed away, made reference to. He goes, Jack Nicholson's waiting to talk to you. And I went up to Jack Nicholson that day, and he had like 2 handlers around him. And I said, hey, would Jack want to talk on the radio? He's a big NBA fan, obviously a big Lakers fan. He had front row seats to that game. And one of his handlers turned to me and goes, why don't you ask him yourself? So I reach out my hand to shake Jack Nicholson's hand. He holds my hand, and I wouldn't let it go. I just wouldn't let it go. It was Jack Nicholson. And I said, hey, I told him who I was, John Lund, 1320 KFan, Jazz Radio Network. Can I get you a couple minutes to talk some ball? And he looked me up and down, and he said, I love radio, but I don't feel like doing radio today. And I was like, that's not my greatest Jack that I've ever done. But the point is that, Jack turns me down. Woody Harrelson was there. He turns me down. Like all these celebrities are there back in the day. They all turned me down. And then I was determined at that point that Steve Young was like, he was the holy grail at that point. And I'm like, he's not, and he was trying to ditch me. He was taking pictures and all that. And I'm like, not happening. He's not ditching it. Yeah. Steve's going to be on with Tommy this week, and we're going to play that for him. We're going to play that for Steve Young. Let's see right here. Yeah, play that for Steve. Yeah, I'll play it. I'm going to play it for Steve because what's funny here is I'll play a little bit more because today is NFL free agency day. I'll play more of it later in the week. But the funny part is Steve keeps trying to ditch me during the whole thing. There's there it is right there. Game 2, 1998, Jordan's Bulls, right before the game. But he's trying to ditch me the whole time. And he's like, I got to get rid of this guy. And he's trying to weave through the traffic because, like I said, he's, there's a ton of people on the court. And how about the beginning of it when David Locke says, and there's Steve Kerr shooting threes on one end of the court. It's like, Steve Kerr, you mean the coach of the Warriors, Steve Kerr? I mean, that's how long ago it was. Steve's, shooting hoops, getting ready before the game. And people wouldn't leave. Like, these guys are weaving between media and everything else because all this media is on the court and they're trying to warm up for pregame. And it's like, sorry, we've just taken over your court. We don't care if you're trying to get ready for the NBA finals, whatever. Like, sorry, we need to take over here. Anyway, there's a quick, I had to divert away. Oh, yeah. Like I said, my voice was, I was trying to be a radio guy. Like, Steve is very important. I'm a very important radio guy. So, anyway, I like it. But we'll play it later on in the week. This does not surprise me whatsoever, Milton Williams going to the Panthers. This is a typical example. I could be wrong, but this is a typical example of a guy playing great in the Super Bowl. He's a 4th-round pick for the Eagles. He's a nice player, but he's going to get overpaid because the Panthers stink, and they're going to say, "Oh yeah, we're going to get a Super Bowl champion. That's going to change things." And it's like you're just going to overpay for a guy, and you're going to be disappointed by him. That's just what it is. So that doesn't surprise me. Tacky is breaking news, man. Tacky has become the Adam Schefter of the show because I'm trying to keep up with things, but I have to entertain people at the same time. I've got to do 2 things at once, and I can't walk and chew gum at the same time. Hufanga, that sounds official now. Hufanga to Denver. It's not a surprise. Hufanga to Denver. All right. So there we go. Hufanga to Denver. We're keeping up to date on everything. Milton Williams finalizing with the Panthers. Let's see what else here. Yeah, I agree with you, Joy. Steve's trying to ditch me. Like, what's up, bro? And we've, I was on Tommy's show, so we did lots of. Oh, you're killing it, man. No, I'm being honest. You're killing it. You're absolutely killing it. I'm not making fun of you at all. Tacky bombs. That's it. Mike just said tacky bombs. Yeah, absolutely. Tacky bombs, man. You're killing it. You're crushing it, man. And then I'm just going to Twitter and I'm just finding out this double checking. Not that I don't believe you. I believe you so very much so. Very much so. You got married in 98. So there you go. Yeah. He was running around just trying to ditch me the whole time. Just ditching. Like this, I gotta go. Because at the end I forgot to, let me see if I can I don't want to go away from this because I know a lot of people are gonna be like, hey, Lund, you got to keep up to date on everything that's going on. But let me do one thing here. Hold on just a second. Yeah, old school cassette tape. Like I said, this is the cassette right here, 1998. And I showed this before, but it says there's a dot on that thing. What is that? Is that on the case? There we go. Some food on there or something. But if I can get that close enough, look at that. 6-5. Yeah, there you go. Now you can see it. Game 2, 6-5 NBA Finals. It was June 5, 1998. And I had this in a box forever. And then I finally got this little thing that you plug in your computer. It's a cassette player, and you plug in your computer, and you can digitalize it. And actually, for being a 27-year-old tape, I mean, it's, it ain't bad. It doesn't sound bad. Let me see if is it going to pick up where I left off? Because where I left off that's where Steve was ditching me, and I don't think you could hear that part.
What's that?
Jack Nicholson's up here waiting to talk.
I know. I'm going to get Jack too. He turned me down, but he doesn't know what I'm about.
He doesn't know.
I'm persistent.
He doesn't know the essence of John Lund.
I'm very persistent, to say the least.
I'll tell you one thing about what Steve said that was really true.
Can I just catch you really quick again?
Yeah, we can get back to that.
No problem. Yeah. Steve Young is back. And, Steve, how tough is it to be the target constantly?
How tough is it to be the target constantly? Oh, my voice right there. But see, Steve tried to ditch me. So what he did was he went and take a picture, and then he starts, walking fast the other way. And I was like, no chance. I went right after him. So, anyway, well, that is in its whole and in entirety at johnlundunleashed.com on YouTube, which you can subscribe to. And I will make sure, by the way, ooh, that's a nice move. We got Godwin back to the Patriots, but back to the Bucs, but that's a nice move. And again, another linebacker off the board. Yeah, that's a loss for the Raiders for sure. That dude, I'm not saying he's an upper echelon guy, but he was a hustler. He's a nice player. And he goes to the Patriots. Again, all you have to do is, and I showed you this right to start the show, who's got cap space? New England. They just threw it around. Chargers got Khalil Mack. Washington threw it out at Javon Kinlaw with $30 million guaranteed. Silly. Who else is throwing money around today? The Panthers have thrown a little bit of money around today. Titans just signed Dan Moore. So the team, you knew who was going to be the stupid money today, and the Niners weren't going to be it. We're just kind of waiting. Hufanga goes to the Broncos, by the way, if you just joined us. And I do think that at some point we're going to get a move on Kinlaw just because all the linebackers have gone off the board. So we'll see what kind of happens there. Let me reset everything for you really, really quickly as far as key positions are concerned. So we're waiting on the quarterbacks. Sam Darnold, I thought, would be already signed by now by Seattle, so that's an interesting one. Justin Fields maybe back to Pittsburgh. Where's Aaron Rodgers going to go? Seattle, Pittsburgh, they've been named there. Receiver-wise, Higgins franchised, Godwin back to the Bucs. Diggs is a major issue. I think Hopkins is retiring. Slayton, they're saying, is going to get $10 million a year. That's ridiculous. One name to watch for the 49ers, as I've told you, watch for Brandon Cooks, Stockton guy, good speed. He could replace Ayuk for a little while. Guard-wise, no movement there. Brenson is re-signed with the Buccaneers. Still haven't got word on Banks. Freeze the guy at the top who Seattle could be looking at. If you just joined us, Drew Dahlman goes to the Bears on that list. Defensive tackle-wise, I don't even think they had Kinlaw in the top 10. At least this is from the Athletic. They didn't even have him in the top 10. And he gets $30 million from Washington, did the former 49er Kinlaw. Williams, like we talked about, going to the Panthers. DJ Jones back to the Broncos. The name I like on that list is Poona Ford for the Niners. Jaron Reed back to the Seahawks. Edge guys, Mack goes back to the Chargers. Anyone else signed on that list? Reddick signs with Tampa on that list. Browning back to the Cardinals. Linebacker-wise, we're waiting on Dre Greenlaw. Bond back to the Eagles. Jones back to the Seahawks. Bolton back to the Chiefs. Sherwood back to the Jets. Robert Spillane goes to the Patriots from the Raiders, right? Wagner goes back to the Commanders. Safety-wise, Hufanga, that's corners. Come on, man. Safety-wise, Hufanga to the Broncos. Anybody else on that list gone anywhere? I don't think so. Watch for Blackman on that list for the 49ers. Like Holland, but I think he'll be too expensive. Corner-wise, some people have asked about DJ Reed. Ward gone. Reed hasn't signed. Davis said this morning he's going to hold out and be more aggressive. Murphy has been a guy mentioned with the Raiders. Adebo goes to – who did he go? He went somewhere. Patriots maybe? I forgot. Samuel's been a name that's been mentioned with the Niners. Lewis is off the board. Forgot where he went, but because things are going so fast. But anyway, there's the latest as far as free agents are concerned. I gave you the movement chart. This was before the show is concerned. I've thrown that up a bunch of times, but I'm just letting you know. There's as far as guys who mostly those are re-signings. You see DJ Jones down there, Mac down there. So anyway, a lot of those things happened yesterday or the day before in Geno Smith's case. So that's where we are. Anything else moving right now as we're continuing here? No comment. No comment. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of along the same lines of you. I still don't expect it to happen, to be honest with you, because I think they're in gathering mode. Maybe he hasn't gotten to the number he likes, because if I'm Greenlaw, I don't care if I'm coming off an Achilles. If Ernest Jones and Jamian Sherwood and Nick Bolton and all these guys got anywhere from 13 to 15 million, that's what he's holding out for. And so if he doesn't get that number, it's a good point, Francis. If he doesn't get that number, it does make it more likely, but I still think he's gone. But that's a good point. I was thinking along the same lines. Oh, there you go. That's the one. Yeah, he went to the Giants. Yeah, that's a bummer. But there's guys that can replace him. If they got a DJ Reed, I think Reed's going to be too expensive. I've not seen that contract, which will kind of lead you to where things are going. Yeah, that's a good signing. That's a good signing by New England. Pretty smart. He's one of those. He's a culture setter, and that's where New England is. They need to get some culture back, and he's the type of guy that's going to do that. Come on, Tacky. Where's the Tacky bombs, man? We're not getting them. All right. That's it. Okay. Let's see, what else do we have? What else do we got? Oh man, they're saying that Twitter's down again. My goodness, man, this is brutal. There's too many people on here, man. I mean, it's just what it is. Oh my God, Dan Moore got 4-82 with 50 guaranteed. Just be lucky that the Niners are not participating in this. Dan Moore is at best an average left tackle in this league and probably below. And the Titans are signing him to a 4.82 with 50 guaranteed. That will surpass Javon Kinlaw for the worst signing of the day. This free agency is so dumb. Patriots have money, like I said. Carlton Davis, 3-60 with 34.5 guaranteed. Don't love that deal if I'm the Patriots, but they have money, like I told you. He was in Detroit last year, so Detroit will be looking for a corner. Let's see, what else do we have? We already know, if you just joined us, Jalen Moore goes to the Chiefs, 2-30. That's a massive overpay. Looks like Hufanga is going to the Broncos, but there is nothing as far as money is concerned. Still waiting on Dre Greenlaw. That's probably the biggest one that we're waiting on. And if you missed it, Javon Kinlaw, Adam Peters slamming the table. He used to be at the 49ers, thinking that Javon Kinlaw is still worth it. He gets 3-45 with 30 guaranteed after playing on a 1-year, $7 million deal with the Jets last year. So there's some crazy numbers being thrown around, and I'm fine with the Niners sitting it out personally. So we'll keep you updated on anything else that's going on, but that is the latest as we are being fast and furious on this day. And again, please don't talk to me about the whole thing about sorry, I'm trying to read 3 things at the same time about tampering, because they're, that would be tampering. I get all that. I get that in my social media all the time. Well, that would be tampering. Yeah. We are an hour and 22 into this, and they have all these deals done. So yeah, they didn't talk. I mean, this is just great work by agents, right? This is insane. All these people that are doing this. So anyway, let me double check. Dan Moore. What a ridiculous signing that is. Let's see. Let's see. Nate Hobbs down to 2 teams. Jordan Lewis to Jacksonville, 3-30, 20 guaranteed. That's, I was gonna say everything's an overpay. I don't need to keep saying that over and over and over again. He's a nice, undersized nickel corner. He's not great, so that's what that's concerned about. All right, we'll keep you up to date on everything that's going on as far as free agency is concerned. Let me. I haven't hit the quarterback market a whole lot. Jimmy resigns with the Rams. That's not a big deal. So with Geno Smith being traded to the Raiders, I understand why Geno Smith gets traded to the Raiders. It's a culture change. He's 34. They're going to give him money that Seattle wasn't going to. You don't often see that a team ballsy enough like Seattle is, and I'm saying that only because they're in the NFC West, to say, look, we've got a good quarterback. Normally teams just say, we got a good quarterback, we'll just stay with it. That's not the case. So what Seattle did was kind of ballsy, but I think that Seattle knows what they're going to do. Now, I really thought that they'd already have Sam Darnold in the fold because Seattle's got a bunch of cap space. I thought they already had a deal with Sam Darnold and Geno Smith and asked for too much money. And so that's kind of going back and forth. The other conversation that Seattle's having, Aaron Rodgers. I would not want Rodgers on my team. I think that he ruined the Jets. Not that they were great, but he didn't play well last year. Plus, he's just a major culture problem. So I wouldn't want anything to do with it. When people talk about Aaron Rodgers in the brief moments they did to the Niners, there's no way. When I heard Aaron Rodgers' name, when Stafford might be going to the Raiders around the Rams, there's no way, just the ego. And the way that Kyle Shanahan runs his team, which is, look, it's my offense, and you'll run it the way I want. That's not Aaron Rodgers. Sean McVay wants it the same way. That's not Aaron Rodgers. So I don't see Aaron Rodgers doing that. Now, where you have Clay Kubiak as the offensive coordinator but not play caller with the Niners, you have Clint Kubiak, who's the offensive coordinator and play caller in Seattle. And I would just, if I were him, I'm like, I'm a rookie offensive coordinator. Please don't make me have Aaron Rodgers. So I just don't see that. So that's what's going on up in Seattle. They let Lockett go. They trade DK to the Steelers, which, by the way, and I understand Seattle doesn't want to pay DK Metcalf $30 million. And I told you this. The league is going, we screwed up with paying all these receivers. We want the game to be inside the trenches like the Super Bowl was won, not outside. So they're trying to kind of redo those things, and that's what Seattle is doing, letting go of Lockett, who had a $30 million cap number, letting go of DK, who had a $30 million cap number, only to go to the Steelers and sign for $5 and $150 at 30. I think teams are stupid in doing that, and most of them are trying to fix that and make it about their offensive and defensive lines in the trenches. So that's kind of where the quarterback market is. And then as far as where it might lead to the 49ers, Kruger and I got into a long conversation last night about a backup quarterback. And although the Niners need a lot of things, a backup quarterback's a big deal. He brought up Justin Fields' name a lot. He doesn't fit the 49ers in any way, shape, or form. He's one read and run. Kyle would hate that. It would drive him absolutely bonkers. And if Brock were to ever get hurt, you'd have to adjust the offense so much. So I don't know if Kyle, this is just speculation. Some things that I tell you is because I've heard it. This, as far as the backup quarterback, I have not heard. But if people keep asking me about the 49ers backup quarterback situation, and for me, it's somebody who's going to be like Brock. And I'm not saying Zach Wilson is Brock or anybody like that, but I think from that draft, because people bring up Justin Fields' name, I just think it's going to be a guy. Maybe I'm not a Zach Wilson guy. I'm not a Mac Jones guy, but those guys would run the offense similar to what Brock would run it versus a guy like Justin Fields. So I wouldn't be shocked if one of those two guys, not Justin Fields, but more like Jones or Wilson, were a guy who the Niners like them. I just wonder if they would go after one of those two guys as a backup quarterback. So not that I've heard anything. That one on that front, that's just me speculating 100%. So people have asked me that a lot. So just letting you know. What else do we have today? John, again, thank you for getting up early, man. I really appreciate it. What else do we have? No. I'm not a big Ryan Kelly guy, man. I looked at it because I was looking at centers. He's regressed a little bit, and I'm not a huge guy. I mean, not a huge fan, but I could be wrong. What did I do? Yeah, I told you that right now. I told you that last week, actually. I put that on a piece, actually. If you go to johnlundunleashed.com, I told you they have $65 million in dead cap space, guys who aren't going to be on the team this year. I told you that last week, and it led the NFL. So think about this. Javarius Ward is not going to play for the Niners this year. It's going to cost him $12 million. Eric Armstead is not going to play for the 49ers this year. It's going to cost him $15 million. Javon Hargrave is not going to play for the 49ers this year. It's going to cost him $7 million. On and on and on and on. Deebo Samuel is not going to play for the 49ers this year. It's going to cost him $31 million. And people want to trade Brandon Ayuk. If you trade Brandon Ayuk, it's going to cost you $18 million in dead cap. And it's going to be offset by salary, just like Deebo is going to be offset by salary. But that's a boatload of money. And you're trying to sign Brock Purdy in the same time, and it's like, ugh, just not good. So I don't think they're going to do that more. A lot of people have talked about Brandon Ayuk still being traded. I just don't see it. But I could be wrong. Maybe they're just that pissed off at him, that pissed off about the contract, and they could do something like that, but I just don't see it. All right, let me see what else. We got anything else new? Let me double check this here. See, there's that meme that says, come on, do something, and they're poking at a 49ers. I'm glad they're not doing anything. You got to understand that it's stupid money that's being spent. Dan Moore to the Titans is stupid money. Javon Kinlaw to the Titans, to the Commanders because Adam Peters thinks that he can still play because, damn it, I was in that draft room. He can play. It's stupid money. Jalen Moore, 2 years and $30 million to the Chiefs. And none of these things we know. They're probably just, these contracts are all overblown in the NFL. But still, Jalen Moore, who wasn't even a good swing tackle in my book, 2 years and $30 million to the Chiefs. Stupid money. There's typical stupid money being thrown out. There's a couple of decent contracts. Like Drew Dahlman, I thought was going to get more, and he got 3 and 42. That's not a bad contract for the Bears, and they've redone their whole offensive line, the interior of their offensive line. That's not a bad move. So there's been some moves, but there's been your typical stupid money. Milton Williams was played well in the Super Bowl for the Eagles. He's getting a bunch of money from the Panthers. I think that's a massive overpay. Carton Williams gets 3 and 60, 34.5 from the Patriots. They just have a bunch of money to spend. It's stupid money. Hufanga goes to the Broncos. Have not seen the numbers on that deal, but the Niners are going to lose him. They've already lost Elijah Mitchell. You know what's funny about Elijah Mitchell? I didn't even write him down as far as losses for the 49ers because that was just a given. But again, we're waiting on Greenlaw, Huff to the Broncos, Jalen Moore to the Chiefs, waiting on Aaron Banks. Ward's not going to come back. And who else did I scribble down? Oh, Mason is restricted. And I think that somebody's going to give Mason too big of a deal for the 49ers to match. So that's where we are. Let's see here. As far as some of the veterans, maybe you're tuning in for that. Jonathan Allen is meeting with the Vikings. He's the 70th ranked Pro Football Focus defensive tackle. He's 30, coming off of a pec injury. No thanks. I have talked about Joey Bosa ad nauseum, but I'll just reset it again if you just came into the room. Last year, Joey Bosa was the 72nd ranked edge rusher. 61.1 is the overall number. 67.4 is against the run. 64.8 is against the pass. I don't care about dropping into coverage. He played in 49.6% of the snaps. That's just not going to do it. And he doesn't play in enough games. He has 14 sacks over the last 3 years. He hasn't had a double-digit sack year since 2021. That's not what I want. He's a rotational player at this point of his career. He's going to be 30 in July. Not that that's old, but he's just had too many injuries. And these are the things that Jed is talking about. Let's get emotional. Like in the past, Bosa, oh my God, he'll overpay for that. Now he's sitting back, and it doesn't mean he's going to spend less. He's just trying to spend smarter. So he's like, look, I'd love to get the Bosas together. Mama Bosa's probably texting him, come on, Jed. She wants it to happen. But they're not going to pay, because I said this on Saturday. I said, okay, if they paid a $10 million base and made it really incentive-laden, I would do it. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, well, that's a rotational edge is what Bosa is. And on pass downs, he could go inside. He's big enough. And then you could put Leonard Floyd on the outside of him, but you'd probably have to let Leonard Floyd go if you brought in Bosa. I don't think you could afford both. So you would essentially say, okay, he's a rotational piece, and he would be a 3-down guy. He's better against the run than he is against the pass at this point of his career, actually. And he's about 6'5", 275. He's bigger than what Nick is. But while it's a great concept and name, I just don't think it's a smart idea. And same thing with Jonathan Allen. Great name, not a great idea. So those are the kind of things where I think that where the line is being drawn is things like that. I think the line's being drawn at Dre Greenlaw, but I can't remember who said it earlier. I wouldn't be shocked whatsoever if he came back, even though the linebacker market has shrunk so much and these guys are getting paid $13 to $15 million. I just don't think that that's going to be something that the 49ers are going to do, but I would have thought he would have signed by now. So let's see here. What else? Any other questions, comments, thoughts? Let's see. Just trying to keep everything in order. Have things slowed down for a minute here? What the hell's going on? I thought that we'd be having that. So this is Cam Inman. The exit so far. Debo to the Commanders. Hargrave released. Collins released. Elijah to the Chiefs. Moore to the Chiefs. So Funga looks like Broncos. And like he said, to be determined. But these guys are gone. Ward and Banks, and he mentions Greenlaw in there as well. Former 49ers, Javon Kinlaw, the ridiculous deal to the Commanders, 3 and 45 with 30 guaranteed. DJ Jones to the Broncos. Jimmy stays with the Rams. Yeah, there you go. So that's the latest there. The Kinlaw contract. It's got to be. That's just for show. That 3 and 45 with 30 guaranteed can't be accurate. That's a ridiculous amount. That's just a ridiculous contract for him. Okay, keep you up to date on everything. Let me just do one quick thing. I'm going to do. This is my expand the thing here because I want to see. Patriots with Morgan Moses. Again, Patriots just have a bunch of money. Morgan Moses isn't any good. And he goes 3 and 24 for Moses Moody. It's not Moses Moody. Morgan Moses to the Patriots. Very average tackle. So that's not great. Whoa. Aaron Rodgers getting close to a deal with the Steelers. The guy who's reporting this is a guy I know. His name is Jerry Dulac. When I was in Pittsburgh for all those years, my son was born in Pittsburgh, by the way. Jerry Dulac is a great insider for the Steelers. Jerry Dulac reporting that Aaron Rodgers is getting close with the Steelers. So Aaron Rodgers throwing to DK and to maybe George Pickens, and that's a good group there. So Jerry Dulac knows what he's talking about when it comes to the Steelers. So Aaron Rodgers close with the Steelers, which I don't see how that Darnold goes anywhere but Seattle if that's the case then. So that we're starting to see those kind of things tumble. So Jerry Dulac is saying that Rodgers is closer with the Steelers than he is because he's really good. I can tell you that right now. Let's see, what else do we got? Let's see. Anything else? I've given you a bunch of these. So if you're new in here, I just gave you the latest. We've popped up that thing. What is just in the Jets have a good shot at Justin Fields. See, I don't know this guy's name. Zach Rosenblatt from The Athletic. I don't know anything about him. You got to watch your sources here. You got to be very careful. I know Jerry Dulac, and that's a nice one. Carlton Davis, Patriots, already gave you that one. Milton Williams to the Panthers, already gave you that one. Robert Spillane going to that's 3 and 33. That's not a bad deal. So that's the thing. If Robert Spillane is getting a 3 and 33 from the Patriots at 11, Greenlaw's got to get $13 to $15 million. And I just do not see the 49ers going with that. I don't think so. I cannot see that at all. So let's see here. Yep, we do know that Grady Jarrett has been released. People telling me that. Jordan Lewis, inside corner, nickel guy going to the Jags. We've reported that 3 and 30. Oh, here's Javon Holland expected to become one of the highest paid safeties in the NFL history today. 4 and 80. He's not going to be a Niner. That was a guy that I had brought up as a name, but they're saying 4 and 80 for him. No chance. So he's not going to the Niners. And I'm okay with that. Holland is a nice player, but he's not an $80 million safety. And you make these kind of mistakes, and then it just bites you later, and you're just not going to do that. B.J. Hill stays with the Bengals, 3 and 33. He's a nice player. That's not a terrible signing. If you missed it before, Elijah Mitchell going to the Chiefs. That's not a bad signing, $3.5 million, so they don't pay a ton. What else have we given you here? Okay, we've kept you up to date on everything. Like I said, Paulson Adebo, that's a nice signing for the Jets, 3-year deal. Hassan Reddick earlier to the Buccaneers. Told you about that for 1 and 16. We lost DJ Reed. How about that? DJ Reed, 1 year, and this is not good. 3-year, $48 million deal with the Detroit Lions. Detroit basketball. So DJ Reed going to the Lions, 3 and 48. So, again, too rich for the Niners' blood. That's a bummer. Because he was a guy that maybe the 49ers could have went after. So, again, DJ Reed, 3 and 48 for the Lions. Another guy. Yeah, there you go. DJ Reed, no deal. So, did you have that before me? Sorry. Mr. Light the Beam. Hello, Daniel. DJ Reed. Yeah, that's a nice move by the Lions. You go, Carlton Davis leaves. I was not a big Carlton Davis guy. And you get DJ Reed, and DJ Reed's better. I mean, he just is. He's got that kind of attitude that the Lions like. So, yeah, DJ Reed is a nice one. Thank you for everybody. I want to make sure that I give proper credit to everybody. Hello, Nathan Birch. Good to see you, my friend. Yeah, I'm not a Rodgers guy at this point in his career. And plus, he's such a bad culture guy. Such a bad culture guy, and that matters a ton. Especially locker rooms, guys are close. They're practicing every day. Pittsburgh that's going to be a tough place. It's going to be a tough place. And plus, I like I said, my son was born in Pittsburgh. I was there for a short period of time working for ESPN, and they won't put up with his shit. I mean, that's not that kind of town. He brings all that drama and stuff like that. Steeler fans will not be down. It's just I've told this to everybody that I could ever talk to about living in Pittsburgh. It's not Midwest. It's not East. It's its own place. And it is a burg is what it is. And it's just different. And they love their Steelers 24/7, 365. Now, if you're playing great, maybe. But if Aaron Rodgers tries to pull any of that crap he pulled in New York, it's not going to fly. And it's not going to fly with Mike Tomlin, I can tell you that. I mean, he'll just straight out say it. It's like it's not going to be down. So, again, Aaron Rodgers rumored to be going to the Steelers. Jerry Dulac is a guy that I know, and he knows the Steelers, and he says they're dotting I's, crossing T's on a deal with Aaron Rodgers. So there you go. Yeah, DJ Reed. Did I think he was going to come to the Niners? No, but I kind of thought maybe an outside chance if there was a guy, and I would have liked that. So Adebo goes off the board. The kid from Stanford, he goes to the Giants, and DJ Reed goes to the Jets. One thing I would caution everybody against is we look at these lists and we say, oh, there's nobody left. There's nobody left. A lot of times it's about fit, and you can find guys. Day one isn't everything. Let me just go back to corners for a minute. Day one isn't everything. Ward's not coming back here. Reed, Davis off the board. Murphy, maybe the Vikings. I like him. He's from Washington, played for the Cardinals, played really well against the Niners. For the Vikings, I like Murphy a lot. He'd be too expensive for the Niners, but I'd like it. Douglas, I'm not a huge fan of. Adebo's off the board. Samuel's a guy that's been talked about around the Niners. So maybe an Asante Samuel coming off an injury at 27. That could be something. And there's other guys besides this guy in this list, but I keep trying to pop these up just to show you who's out there and who's not anymore. So let's just really quickly just update this kind of stuff. Wide receivers have not gone crazy. So again, Godwin, Higgins franchised, Godwin back to the Bucs. Diggs is an issue. Allen's going to take a minute. Cooper's going to take a minute. Elijah Moore has been talked about around the 49ers. I don't see that. I mentioned Brandon Cooks over and over and over. Guard-wise, Jenkins is an interesting one for the 49ers because he's not going back because they got two new guards. So I don't know what he's going to do. I like James Daniels. Banks is not coming back here. Dahlman got 3 and 42, which isn't outrageous. There's nobody else on that list I like. Defensive tackle-wise, Milton Williams today to the Panthers. Haven't heard anything on Hargrave. DJ Jones back to the Broncos. Poona Ford's a guy I like. Jaron Reed goes back to the Seahawks. Wharton is a guy that's going to get overpaid at some point today. Right there at number 9. He had some sacks this year. He's undersized, though, like 280, 285. Don't love that. Edge-wise, Mack goes back. I'm surprised that Sweat hasn't been signed. He had a great Super Bowl. Mack goes back to the Chargers. Kuntz is a nice player I like. Oops, sorry about that. Reddick goes to the Buccaneers. What else do we have? Anybody else on that list? Oh, Brandon Browning goes back to Cardinals. Linebacker-wise, this is where it's getting interesting because Dre is still out there as far as I know, and I haven't looked at Twitter in 2 seconds, but Bond back to the Eagles, Jones back to the Seahawks, Bolton back to the Chiefs, Sherwood back to the Jets, Spillane goes to the Patriots for 3 and 33, Wagner back to the Commanders. Kendricks almost signed with the 49ers, signed with the Cowboys last year. Would he come here to replace Dre, and then you draft a linebacker? Safety-wise, that's corner. Safety-wise, Talanoa Fungo looks like he's going to the Broncos. Holland looks like he's going to get a big deal. I like Morig. Chin is a strong safety type. Don't love anybody else on that list. Oh, I do like Julian Blackmon, who the Niners met with last offseason. He's not bad. All right. So there you go. That's the latest on free agency. We're just keeping you up to date. And I know if you've been here a long time, you're like, dude, you keep going over the same stuff, but people come and go. So we got to make sure. That's a bummer about DJ Reed. Yeah, there's no way they were going to pay him that much money. Let's see here. Oops, sorry. Just trying to look at Twitter really fast. Yeah. Nope. That's not happening. DJ Reed is popping up. Yeah, so we've caught up about everything. Okay. All right. I think we're good. As far as catching up. Good job. Anybody else have anything new? Any questions, comments, thoughts on what has happened so far in free agency, or somebody on those lists that I just showed you that you would really, really like to be on the 49ers. Again, I don't think they're going to be a day one team. If they are going to be a day one team, Greenlaw, I don't see Greenlaw coming back. I hope I'm wrong in that because I really like Dre. But newest report saying 5 teams in on Dre Greenlaw. We told you that before the show. I wrote them down. Texans are obviously in on Dre Greenlaw. Rams are said to be in on Dre Greenlaw. Atlanta, which is a team that needs a ton of defense, in on Dre Greenlaw. I've like scribbled so many things down here, and I can hardly read my writing anyway because I have terrible, terrible writing. I mean, just atrocious writing. Let's see. It's like, that's all, folks. Like, free agency's done in 2 hours. It's unbelievable, aren't they? Yeah, I mean, Asante's okay. He's not going to change things. What happened? Yeah. Still, I'm Vernon. I'm still on, man. This is free agency. We got to get the majority of the guys down. I do have a sales meeting. Like I said, I got to sell this thing, man. We're not just doing this for free. I got a sales meeting at 11 o'clock, so I got to probably leave you in about 10 minutes here to get prepared for that. But I should have showered too. I just threw on a hat today because I couldn't break away from Twitter, and then actually Twitter's going crazy now. So let's see here. Yeah, DJ Reed, we already got that one. What else do we have today? Anything else? Yeah, I think so, sports fan. I think the same thing. I think that we're seeing. I mean, even a guy like Robert Spillane, who is a nice player, got $11 million, and I know that the Niners did want to try to stay in the $8 million range. And like I said, Ernest Jones got $13 million. Nick Bolton got $15 million. So these guys are getting between 13, 15. Spillane even got 11. I don't know if the 49ers are comfortable in that. And I keep saying this, but I want to reiterate it. In the Mike Silver piece, a lot of people interpreted that as they're going to draw the line at Brock. They're not drawing the line at Brock. They're drawing the line at what they think is egregious spending. And that, I think that would fall under it, as much as they love Dre. And I think that Robert Saleh would pound the table for him. I think John Lynch would pound the table for him. I think Kyle Shanahan would pound the table for him. That's kind of what they're talking about in that piece, which is Jed's going to look at it and say, look, you pound the table for all these guys. And I like Dre Greenlaw too, but if we're going to pay twice at the position what we thought it was going to be worth, we're not going to do that anymore. That's what the difference is. So that's how I look at it. Again, to just reset everything, it is episode 83. Thanks for joining us. We're doing a little bit of a different show today, as we're trying to keep you up to date on everything that's going on as far as that relate to the 49ers, but everything in free agency as well. So again, what's done, we've been going over that. 49ers rumors, doing that. Bosa ×2, which is Joey, the latest. I've told you I'm not a huge fan of it. And the more I think about it in terms of he's a rotational guy, I said 10 million base and a bunch of incentives. And that doesn't seem like a lot of money. We're hearing that Miami's involved, even though Miami has no cap space. His family's in Miami. There's no state income tax in Florida. They would have to get into a bidding war, I think, in that case. No chance. Seahawks gone crazy with DK Metcalf and Lockett gone. Draymond Jones gone. They trade Geno Smith, so they have a 1, 2 2s, 2 3s. The Steve Young in 1998. I played that for you as well. And you can go back to John Lund Unleashed on YouTube, and you can see and hear that whole interview. The lost tape, as you can see right there, from 1998, June 5, 98. He's trying to ditch me. I'll play that later in the week, a full story of it. If you want to listen to it, or watch it, I should say right now, watch/listen. You can go to johnlundunleashed.com on YouTube and watch that. But I'll play the whole thing and kind of explain it as I play it. And it's kind of funny as he's trying to ditch me. What else? Cap space, like I told you, these are the teams that are going to be silly, and we're starting to see it. Patriots have signed Robert Spillane, but also they had another signing in there. Oh, they had Harold Landry that they signed. Chargers re-signed Mac. Cardinals haven't gone nuts. Commanders, it's got to be Adam Peters pounding the table saying, this guy's good, I know it. Gave Javon Kinlaw 3 and 45 with 30 guaranteed. Seattle, I think, is working on Sam Darnold. The Steelers are close on Aaron Rodgers. Vikings, have they done anything? Not really. Jags got Paulson Adebo, the former corner with Stanford, who I like. Titans went out and got Dan Moore, the offensive tackle of the Steelers, way overpay at 4 and 82 with 50 guaranteed. Raiders, a lot of that's going to be Geno. Lions just went out and got DJ Reed with their money. Who else is on that list? So there you go. So there's the Milton Williams, the defensive tackle. Panthers about the middle of the way. Devontae Adams, the Rams, in about the middle of the way. They got him. And you can see the Dolphins there at the bottom if it comes down to a Joey Bosa thing. And remember, you can clear space in a second. So they're underwater on the cap right now, but that doesn't mean they couldn't clear it in a second and get Joey Bosa in there. And if it comes down to a bidding war, that's just not going to happen. And then there's the bidding chart I gave you from this morning. So I've given you a bunch of stuff, but this was before the show, all the things that had already happened. And you probably know that, but I just wanted to show you. So Josh Allen extension, Myles Garrett extension, DK to the Steelers, Devontae Adams to the Rams, Sherwood back to the Jets, Geno trade to the Raiders, Ernest Jones back to Seattle, Landry to New England. And then these are all re-signings. Jaron Reed, Seattle, Aaron Jones, Minnesota, Bolton, Kansas City, DJ Jones, the former Niner, stays in Denver, Khalil Mack stays with the Chargers, J.C. Horn extension in Carolina, in addition to all the other things that we talked about as far as that goes. Do want to remind you, too, Bay Area Sports Collective. Not only are you listening and watching on John Lund Unleashed, please make sure that you go to Bay Area Sports Collective. And also, I haven't told you this in a while, my good friend, Dr. Riopel, Dr. Jeffrey Riopel, Cosmetic Surgery and Laser Center. Make sure that you check those guys out. I tell you all the time how I'm feeling with my testosterone, and no, it's not Barry Bonds like. They check your blood, you got low T, and it's just one small procedure that is really short, and then all of a sudden for 4 or 5 months, you're all set. And you don't have to go in and get shots all the time. You have tons of energy. You feel like yourself. I mean, that's what it comes down to. It is awesome. So if you've been thinking about it, if you got low T, if you've been thinking about testosterone therapy and you don't know what it's all about, let Dr. Riopel help you out with it, because for me, it's been an absolute life changer. Dr. Jeffrey Riopel and the Riopel Cosmetic Surgery and Laser Center, and my wife is doing all sorts of great procedures with Dr. Riopel as well. So make sure that you check that out. Her pain from her elbow and her shoulder is totally different. It is awesome now. She doesn't have to put the ice on it all the time. So make sure you check them out. And there is the QR code right there if you want to make an appointment. Very, very simple. The stem cells is what she's doing. Stem cell. If you got a lot of pain right now, shoulders, elbows, and I was talking to my friend over the weekend on Sunday, we were at a barbecue, and we're like, hey, man, because the weather was amazing, by the way. Some neck issues, all that kind of stuff. Let Dr. Riopel tell you what he can do with the stem cell. It is life-changing. So right there, if you just click on the QR code, you can get an appointment there. And whether it's testosterone therapy for you, or if it's something, maybe you're in pain, maybe you have a friend in pain, maybe your wife, girlfriend, significant other, I'm telling you, man, it is a life changer, and it's right there. Riopel Cosmetic Surgery and Laser Center, and plus they do all sorts of other procedures as well. So check them out online, and they are awesome. Absolutely great. I know. Give me 1 minute. I'm not done yet. See, I told you I had a sales meeting in 9 minutes. So we got a lot of stuff around here we got to do. We got to sell this thing. This is high quality content. You know that. Before we get out of here, and I'll come back later today if there's anything big that happens with the 49ers and it breaks in, I will be back. But let me make sure that we don't have anything before I take a quick break. And do remember, Paulie's coming on at 11 o'clock. So he and Creative Tony are going to continue, I'm sure, talking about who they signed, who's been signed, who hasn't been signed. That's a good call right there. That's an absolute great call right there. Yeah, I did. That's a great question. That's a great question. I always told Steve, I told him, I go, you tried to ditch me at 98. I got this tape, and it was in a box, and I knew it was in this box, but then I was doing something, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, and I saw it. I saw the tape. I was like, oh my God, that's the Steve Young tape, because it says right on it, 6-5 NBA Finals Game 2 pregame. And that's how we used to do it back in the day. You had a cassette in there, and you had to flip the damn thing over. And so anyway, I finally digitized it over the weekend, and Tom's going to have Steve on this week. And so I've got cuts for Steve, like the part where he tries to ditch me. So when NFL free agency kind of slows down a little bit later on in the week, I'll play this for you. Again, you can hear it without my commentary, just the whole thing at johnlundunleashed.com on YouTube. So you can watch the whole thing. I have it posted right now, but I'm going to play it later in the week and just kind of stop it along the way and give you some perspective of, Steve trying to run away from me and how crazy it was on the court and all this kind of stuff. And like I said, it's the whole thing starts, the segment starts with David Locke, who's the play-by-play voice of the Jazz now, but starts with him introing, hey, we're back at the Delta Center for Game 2 of the NBA Finals between the Bulls and the Jazz. And he's like, Steve Kerr is shooting on one end of the court. I mean, it just shows you how crazy and how long ago it was. But yeah, the tape held up pretty good. I mean, you can hear it pretty well. So anyway, yeah, Steve knows of it. I'm going to play back some of it for it. So anyway, what else do we have? Anything new? Any new signings? I got to sign off here in just a second. But like I said, if anything breaks big on the Niners front, I will make sure that I am back today. I have given you as much as I can Again, Aaron Rodgers potentially the Steelers because Jerry Dulac is a guy that I know very, very well. So I'll keep you up to date on that. DJ Reed, bummer that he's signing with the Lions. Just want to recap some of the things. Hafunga looks like he's going to the Broncos. Get out of there. He's going to the Broncos. I'm trying to think what other ones we have here. Waiting on news for, let's see, what's that one? Okay, we already got that. Waiting for news on Greenlaw. I don't think the market breaks well because all the linebackers signing and the amount of money that they got. I don't think it breaks well for the 49ers to get Dre Greenlaw back. Jalen Moore is going to the Chiefs if he just came in, and Elijah Mitchell goes to the Chiefs as well. That's on a cheap deal. The craziest day of the day, or craziest deal of the day, might be Adam Peters just slamming the table going, I know Kinlaw's good because he helped draft him. 3-45 with Washington, which is insane, and $30 million guaranteed. So anything else before we get out of here? At least for a couple of hours before anything breaks. Okay, I think that's going to do it. I got to jump off to a sales meeting, people, because this kind of content is not free. You know, it's very high quality stuff, and it's not free. I've got my salesperson sitting right here to my left, and she's not happy. She's like, we got to prepare for the meeting. Let's go. All right, Tacky, you are the best, man. Paulie and Tony, or Paulie and Creative Tony, are going to be joining on Bay Area Sports Collective in about 5 minutes. So grab yourself a sandwich, a beer. It's almost noon, isn't it? Oh, it's 11 on a Monday. Don't grab yourself a beer. Sorry, that's me. A Bloody Mary? No, just coffee. Grab yourself a coffee. The guys are going to be on. They'll keep you up to date with everything that is going on if and when news breaks. And again, be happy that the 49ers are not spending this stupid kind of money. I don't disagree with you, by the way, Tomlin and Rodgers. That's going to be heads butting. But like I said, I know Jerry Dulac, as long as he's covered the Steelers. Keep this in mind. That guy was covering the Steelers before I got there, and my son was born there, and my son's 21. So this dude's been covering the Steelers for a long time. So if he's saying it's true, it probably is true. So anyway, all right, we got to jump for a quick sales meeting. We will be back when and if news breaks. It's NFL free agency first day, and we're about 2 hours into this whole thing. 9 o'clock wasn't officially happened. We've given you as much information as we possibly can, and I will be back when and if news breaks. Have a wonderful rest of your Monday. I'll be back if news breaks. Keep those alerts on. Make sure that you are subscribed already to John Lund Unleashed on YouTube. Also, Bay Area Sports Collective. Thanks for watching at John Lund Radio on X and Instagram as well as Facebook. And we'll probably see you later today. Everyone have a wonderful Monday. Happy NFL.
Thanks for hanging out with John Lund Unleashed. We'll try to be better next time, though I wouldn't hold my breath. Please like and subscribe on the John Lund Unleashed Pod YouTube channel. Watch live shows weekdays at 8 a.m. on YouTube, Instagram, and X. And make sure to have your alerts on for shows throughout the day or night. All things Lund can be found at johnlundunleashed.com. johnlundunleashed.com.
Goodbye!